Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year, and welcome to the first commission meeting for 2023. We will start now the regular City Commission meeting for Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. City Clerk, Madam, please call the roll.
Mayor Cleveland.
Present.
Vice Mayor Hartman.
Here.
Commissioner Martin.
Here.
Commissioner McGirt.
Here.
Commissioner Perrine. Here. Thank you.
Will you join me now in turning off your cell phones, please? Please rise for the invocation, which will be delivered by the Police Department Senior Chaplain Tom Prusnall, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be offered by our Senior Planner, Mr. Robert Mathan.
Let's pray. Father God, we're so blessed that you just pour out your blessings upon us, this community, so abundantly. And we ask you to continue to put your hedge of protection around us, Lord. Bless us as a community, as a city, county, state, and country, Lord. Protect us. Lord, we ask that you would also put your hedge of protection around this commission here, all the elected officials and appointed. Lord, give them the knowledge, wisdom, discernment, and temperament to carry out their duties. And when all is said and done, all that they accomplish here today, let it bring you the glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. City Manager, are there any adjustments to the agenda published for this evening?
Yes, sir. I have one minor adjustment, and that is to remove item 6G, and that is to consider the approval of a grant request for the Upward Trend Foundation Gala, and I'm moving it under administrative item will be 7E for discussion.
7E, thank you.
And that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Colin. It becomes 7E. Good news. We have two proclamations tonight that are very important. I'd like to start with the first one. Would Ann Harrell please join us at the podium for a proclamation honoring Dr. Martin Luther King Day? Whereas Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. devoted his life to advancing equality, social justice, opportunity for all, and challenged all Americans to participate in the never-ending work of building a more perfect union. And whereas Dr. King's teachings can continue to guide and inspire us in addressing challenges in our communities. And whereas the King Holiday and Service Act, enacted in 1994, designated the King Holiday as the National Day of Volunteer Service and charged the Corporation for National Community Service with leading this effort. And whereas in 1994, since 1994, millions of Americans have been inspired by the life and the work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to serve their neighbors and their communities on King Holiday, and whereas serving on the King Holiday is an appropriate way to honor Dr. King, meet local and national needs, bring our citizens together, and strengthen our communities and nations. And whereas the King Day of Service is the only federal holiday commemorated as a National Day of Service and offers an opportunity for Americans to give back to their communities on the holiday and make an ongoing commitment to service throughout the year. And whereas the King Service Day projects are being coordinated by a wide range of nonprofits and community organizations, educational institutions, public agencies, private businesses, and other entities across the nation. And whereas each of us can and must contribute to making our community better with increased opportunity for all our citizens. Now, therefore, I, Fred Cleveland, Mayor of the City of New Smyrna Beach, recognize Martin Luther King Jr. holiday as a day of service in New Smyrna Beach and call upon the people of New Smyrna Beach to pay tribute to the life and works of Dr. Martin Luther King through participation in community service projects throughout the year. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 10th day of January 2023 and caused this seal to be affixed. I've signed it, and Kelly McQuillan, our city clerk, has attested to it. Congratulations, my dear. I'd like to have the entire commission come down for the photograph and presentation, please. That's a treat. And now another great treat. Will the New Smyrna Beach High School women's indoor volleyball team and coaches please come forward? Ladies and gentlemen, these are the state champions of women's indoor volleyball for 2022. Will the parents of these awesome athletes please stand? There they are. Thank you. Well done, moms and dads. Whereas the indoor volleyball is an endurance sport requiring a high degree of mental and physical toughness and emphasizing both individual excellence and the importance of teamwork. And whereas the New Smyrna Beach High School women's indoor volleyball team just completed an outstanding year holding a record of 27-2 throughout the regular season, winning the state championship against Vieira High School on November 13, 2022 at Polk State College Winter Haven Health Center. And whereas this outstanding team has been led by head coach Alvaro Sanchez, assistant coach Jill Cornegay, assistant coach Hector Garcia, assistant coach Daria Turner, and assistant coach John Cunningham. And whereas the following athletes have achieved goals that have made history for the team and the school, they should be recognized for their determination, their strength, focus, and especially their mental fortitude during the past season. Tegan Lux, Ivy Westfall, Bailey Jones, Lily Schlegeter, Quinn Kralak, Libby Nichols, Kaylin Frederick Huffman, Gracie Newell, Chloe Gibson, Mia Canaris, Hannah Zona, Eden Anderson, Alyssa Cornegie, Jalen Brown, Gigi Green, and Madeline Preston. And whereas the city of New Smyrna Beach is very proud of your collaborative success of the 2022 New Smyrna Beach High School Women's Indoor Volleyball Team. Therefore, now I, Fred Cleveland, Mayor of the City of New Smyrna Beach, do hereby recognize the New Smyrna Beach High School Women's Indoor Volleyball Team for their determination and efforts that have awarded them this distinguished honors and ranking for the 2022 season, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand this 10th day of January 2023, and I have signed it, and our city clerk, Kelly McQuillan, has witnessed it. Congratulations, ladies. Have the city commission come down, please. We'll have a picture with the city commission. I'd like Vice Mayor Hartman to hand out the certificates, please. Coach up there, tell us how you want. This good?
Yeah, we'll have the girls up front kneeling, and then second row behind.
Congratulations, girls. So this is a twofer. Vice Mayor Hartman tells me that last year you're the outgoing state champions as well, right? Yes, sir. Holy cow, 2 years in a row. Amazing. This town is full of talent, and the moms and dads that make that happen and instill the leadership and fortitude for those young athletes are to be commended. Moms and dads, well done. City Manager, I invite you to give your report, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Happy New Year to all. I'm going to start off with give you an update on Hurricane Ian and Nicole. Obviously, the debris removal has been completed in mid-December. Now the operation, as far as the debris, is back to Waste Pro. So Waste Pro is back to normal process and operation at this point. The other issue is the flooding. Obviously, we have about 1,000 homes flooded between Ian and Nicole. Some of them have started doing their repair on the flooding on those homes. Our staff has been working with most of them at this point. I would like anybody who is have a flooded home that is not shown on the map on site for them to contact us, and so we could put it on a map. Obviously, there is some homes that probably we don't have it in our map, according to some people that I talked to. So I would encourage anyone who has a flooded home to check with our staff to make sure that it's on our list.
Could you give a specific name you're contacting?
Yes, it's Danielle, and I cannot remember her last name, but she is with the building department, and we'll put her name and her phone number on the city website. The other issue is the beach erosion and beach damage. We have taken some steps, even though the beach is controlled by Volusia County. But we reached out to state senators, House of Representatives. The mayor and I attended the Volusia legislative delegation yesterday, where the mayor spoke on behalf of the city And thank you, Mayor, for the excellent speech that you presented to the delegation. We have presented 5 different projects that we will be submitting as funding from the state. And when I respond to some of the public comments at the last meeting in terms of public participation, I think we have addressed some of these issues as well. Our staff has been working with the representative from the Volusia League of Cities on damaged city properties and infrastructure. So this is working on progress as well. Our experts on the exposure study will have our kickoff meeting on January the 18th at the Brannan Center at 5:30. That's the purpose of that meeting, is to give chance to the public to give us their input to the experts. The experts from there, after the public meeting, we will have a kickoff with the staff. And then from there, he will hit the road on working on trying to get the report. So the idea is to hopefully have the report back before the end of the moratorium with recommendations. And the goal is to find out why did it happen, how did it happen, and then also how could we prevent it from happening in the future. As soon as he gives us the recommendations, probably within 3 weeks to a month, we will come back with an action plan based on the recommendation to the City Commission. I know that it's probably will be a long road for us, but we will hit the road immediately as soon as he gives us the recommendations for an action plan.
Really good. Colin, for those watching from home and for our memory, could you say the date and time again for everyone?
Yes, it's for the kickoff meeting, the public kickoff meeting for the exposure study would be on January the 18th at 5:30 at the Brannan Center. We had public participation at the last meeting, and this is something we started, I guess, about 3 meetings ago. We had 24 public participants at the meeting. The majority of them, they were out of Temple Street, and just for, I guess, the purpose of information, that subdivision is actually in the county. The only involvement we have with it at this point is we own the property adjacent to it that we purchased through the Turnbull Creek bond. There is a canal there that we will be working on cleaning and doing the dredging. I have asked the maintenance operation director to see if we could find somebody at least to clean it at this point. We have a contractor that is willing to clean up the entire canal from there all the way to Mission. So I'm going to be talking to him sometime in the next week, and if that's possible and the commission is in agreement, we will be doing the cleaning, but not the dredging. The dredging is obviously, it's a lengthier process and more expensive. What we submitted or will submit to the states in terms of millions of dollars for the dredging. But we'll look at it to see if the cleaning will help us at this point. If that's the case, we will do that first, and then we could come back and do the dredging at a later date. We had a couple of citizens that they complained about Lake Fairgreen Circle with some work being done behind their subdivision, and that was as a result of an emergency easement that was given from the Hidden Golf Course to the Hidden Lakes LLC. Obviously, they're abutted by the railroad track, so they need to have an emergency access. That access is stabilized, so a permit was issued to them to have this emergency access. We have quite a few citizens spoke to support Mr. John Frankhauser for the Planning and Zoning Board member. We have some citizens spoke about the Pioneer interchange. Obviously, it's a state and county issue, but I think the commission previously through the TPO. I think they have shown some support to that, and Commissioner McGurk, if you could correct me on that. There were some citizens spoke about the moratorium, which that will be considering later on the agenda for the second public hearing. We have a citizen who thanked the staff's efforts on the moratorium. And then also we had an attorney who was in the audience that he kind of spoke about the moratorium, just kind of warning about that, you know, why we're doing the moratorium and making sure that it's through the legal process. I think that's all I have, Mayor, in terms of the public participation. And so I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have. And we'll be just talking about the moratorium when that item comes up in more detail.
So thank you, Khaled, for the report, and I'm hearing from our residents and businesses a positive response to this follow-up that you're doing. Is there any commissioner with a question on any of those follow-up items? Thank you for the report, Colin.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, we'll have public participation at some point. Yes, sir. You'll have your time. Absolutely. In fact, it's coming up now. So. Welcome to public participation. We're delighted you decided to come to the City of New Smyrna business meeting that the Commission conducts on your behalf. This portion of the meeting is to give you the opportunity to directly speak something on your mind, a thought you might have, an issue that you might have, a vote of confidence or congratulations for a staff member that may have done something well, a complaint that you may have. It is not a question and answer period. We will not answer questions during this time. It is your time to let us know how you feel. Action items will be recorded, and the city manager will report the action item status on the next meeting. With that said, I see a full room tonight, so if you're here for skateboard park, can you raise your hand? All right, awesome. Just wanted to make sure I've read the room. I had an email or two today that said that skateboard moms and dads would be out here tonight, so we're delighted to have you here. And so might I ask if there is there a leader of that group that would like to speak first? Name and address for the record, if you don't mind, ma'am.
Thank you. My name is Katie Liller, 461 Wildwood Drive, New Smyrna Beach, Florida. I am here once again to plead for the New Smyrna Beach Skate Park. My first email regarding the improvements of the skate park was on November 5th of 2019. I have been meeting with the city officials and Parks and Rec since that time. My sons who are with me today, Gavin and Cole, have grown up at the skate park. Both took part in the amazing free lessons that Tari has offered every Saturday morning. They've been to all the camps. Our family has been going to the skate park almost daily for the past 10 years. We have witnessed firsthand the lack of care and from the city of this park. After years of meetings and gathering information and looking at grants, I was thrilled that the skate park was finally going to get some of its much needed attention. To hear that there is a possibility that the skate park may once again be pushed to the side is disheartening, to say the least. I ask you today, after years of discussions and meetings, to please keep the skate park in this year's budget and make sure that, like the football, softball, baseball, and soccer fields, the skate park is maintained and prioritized. Please take care of the park that you have and give the community the skate park it deserves. I hope that you will come out and visit the skate park, attend a Saturday morning lesson, or come out on a Sunday night and see how utilized this park is. You will see that the park needs improvements and upkeep. And we thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you so much, Katie. Will all the skateboard supporters please stand? So thank you guys for turning out. It's good to see support for such a popular program here in town. If there is any of you that have something in addition to add that we may not know, I invite you to come forward in an effort to not repeat the same things that we're hearing. If you have something extra to add, please come forward.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. My name is Tony Misiano, 2908 Nordman Avenue, New Smyrna Beach. Khalid, nice to see you. I'm the original builder of the park, and I do this for a living thanks to that skate park. I've built over 100 around the world. I'm going to Cambodia next month to build one and a skate school, and I can tell you firsthand the impact that it has on communities, putting more into these parks. And, you know, with people like the Lillers, you know, you'll probably, with the Olympics, you'll probably see these boys competing against each other, the brothers, in the next couple of years. You know, it's a reality. So the mental health, the physical health, the different outlets that this creates are a great impact, you know, even for me as a career. I mean, it's crazy what's happened for me. So, you know, having a world-class facility, an upgraded facility, is only gonna make a better outlet for these people. So we just need a little bit more. We can use the space. We rent 3 acres of 17 back from the FAA, correct? So we can use that space and work with the drainage that we've already created and make something useful and impactful that'll really make this skate park better for everybody. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Thanks, Coach. Is there anyone else on any other topic for public participation? If you're here to speak about the moratorium, that will be open in the moratorium section of the meeting when we bring that issue before the commission. So if you're here for any other topic other than moratorium, please come forward.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name's Palmer Wilson. I live at 101 Donlin Drive, and I've provided the clerk a copy with what I'm going to say. And actually, my first half of the comment was on the moratorium, so I'm just going to say I think you need to approve it. My second comment has to do with agenda item number 10B, to appoint a city resident to the Planning and Zoning Board. I'm convinced that this board is probably the most critical one we have, and membership on it should be focused on residents with the requisite education, technical skills, and demonstrated work experience that is directly related to the evaluation of proposed planning and zoning actions and documents that are reviewed by this board. In the agenda packet of applications before you, there are several applicants with such qualifications. And while I appreciate the interest of all who have applied, I think we, more than ever before, need to ensure that the P&Z board members possess directly related technical skills, education, and work histories, and suggest that you prioritize those credentials in your selection. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Larry Luttrell, 311 Faulkner. Come before you this evening. Number one, I know I've sent Commissioner Perrine and Mayor Cleveland a succinct argument regarding the skate park and the need to move forward on that. 2 other items quickly. Regarding flooding, I'm late to that party. It's a sad party. But the 300 block of Faulkner suffered significant flooding during Hurricane Ian. We were lucky to avoid any flooding during the second storm. I don't believe it's going to be an issue that repeats itself if we investigate why the stormwater drainage system in the 300 block did not function. I believe across the street, the new development and the elevation that it was built on, all of the stormwater entry gates were still well 18 inches to 24 inches above the flood water that took out 3 feet of my garage, took out other garages, came within inches of flooding other homes on our street in the 300 block. But beyond that, it went downhill into the river. We had no flooding, no saltwater inundation during Ian. We did see the Riverside flood during the second storm, during Nicole. Third item, very quickly, still here on the back corner of this building. When my wife, my son, or any of our neighbors are walking to Canal Street, anybody familiar with the old video game Frogger? That's how we feel when we try to cross Washington Street. The crosswalk is so faded, it's like it's not even there. And there's 2 parallel crosswalks for folks that are walking across from Faulkner headed to Canal. It needs to be repaired. Called city staff, sent emails, never get a response. And if one of you could twist an arm and get some paint put down and maybe a couple of signs, we'll feel better for it. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you, sir. So I appreciate the applause and the support. Please don't do it. We want to be respectful of things, and some of those topics you may not agree with. So if you could just refrain from that. I have the general sentiment, though. Thank you very much. Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. My name is Michelle Kelly. I'm a resident of 657 South Pine Street, which is the Central Beach area. Our home flooded during Hurricane Irma, it flooded during Ian, and it flooded after Nicole. Prior to Thanksgiving, we met with the city engineers regarding concerns related to the flooding that has come from the metal grates that are located in front of our property. We've also participated formally in the FEMA grant for Irma, and we were recently part of the question seeking that Commissioner Martin held at the Coronado Civic Center. We're still waiting for some responses from both the city meeting and the meeting with Commissioner Martin, but I'm sure we'll get something soon. But since 2017, we have invested in flood mitigation and prevention of our property. However, we continue to flood, and it's become more commonplace. I'm aware that there's a flooding exposure study that was even spoken about this evening, and I appreciate this effort. But my fear is that the focus is on the mainland and not on the Central Beach, and mostly on construction development as the culprit rather than other potential sources, such as the existing drainage and other systems that are on the beach side. I'm also concerned that the study results will not come in time for the next hurricane season, nor will it result in the action which will help Central Beach residents. I'm recommending an additional proactive approach, such as a committee formed to identify flood prevention products, solutions for residents, as the construction moratorium is not the only answer to this issue. I'd also be happy to provide documentation to the flooding exposure study, as I have an extensive binder of 3 storms worth of photos, and I also have video evidence of what is happening in our area. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments.
Carl Iverson, 1314 South Riverside. What I'd like to talk about is the proposed cell phone tower on Riverside Drive. If you're not aware of it, those are the city documents for the permit, but the third page shows you an image of the tower itself. What the city has approved is a 40-foot concrete tower with an antenna on top directly in front of our home on Riverside Drive. 40 feet, concrete. I don't know how wide it is, but a 40-foot tower, I don't know, this wide. The permit was issued to Verizon. Verizon is a private company that's been granted access for, put this tower in so they can increase their revenue for their company. There is no value to the residents on Riverside Drive, and in fact, I think you all can agree that having a 40-foot tower in front of your house is a detriment to the community. Verizon has stated in the city documents that they want this location to provide better coverage for the yacht club. I'll give you an obvious suggestion that if they want better coverage for the yacht club, there's probably a better location for that tower. Okay? And just note that what we found out, my neighbor on 1300, which was in the corner of 5th Street in Riverside, found out by talking to the workers. To date, we've received no notification from the city of what's going on with these towers. And hopefully you can understand that we're not real pleased with a 40-foot tower being put in front of the homes. Okay? And apparently it was approved without a lot of oversight. I don't think, other than Commissioner Prine and Mayor Cleveland, most of you probably aren't even aware this was approved. It was approved by engineering. I know Khaled hasn't approved it. I know Kerry hasn't approved it. But I would suggest, I would hope that the city could take a look at it and perhaps find a better location to put the tower rather than in front of our homes. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. Appreciate the remarks.
Hi, good evening. Jay Pendergast, 5900 South Atlantic. I want to thank you. On December 15th, the City Commission and city staff put on a very great workshop dealing with our parking and traffic situation in this city. And I have to say, after all of the years of my community involvement, I came out of that meeting feeling extremely positive that we are really going to make something happen. And I just want to say thank you to the commission and the staff for doing such a good job.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate that.
Good evening. Craig Caswell, 1104 North Peninsula, New Smyrna Beach, Florida. I am here about the car show. My wife and I have taken the initiative to continue the cherished 26-year tradition that the car show has provided on Canal Street, by the way, is the one I'm referring to. It's the second Saturday of every month. The car show has brought hundreds of thousands of people to Canal Street over the years. And for that, we should all be grateful as citizens, commissioners, and the city. I think the car show is woven into the fabric of New Smyrna Beach and is partially responsible for the renaissance of Canal Street over the last 15 years. The entire city can benefit from having the car show continue in a format that is pleasing to the public and beneficial to the Canal Street merchants. I've met with the city and the Merchants Association, and we've discussed both the positive and negative impacts that the car show brings to the area. I believe that over the next 90 days, 3 shows, we will see improvements that will support the belief that the car show is in fact part of the fabric of our city. I've already arranged a group of experienced volunteers to assist with the orchestration of the car show itself, and we will follow the best practices that have been used over the last 26 years while making adjustments to improve the event. My wife and I have volunteered to personally finance the show in the beginning so as not to burden any of our tax-paying citizens. Our belief is that losing the car show would be a detriment to many, many people, and that is too socially and economically valuable to have it disappear. People have been attending the car show through many generations, and we don't want the next generation not to have the same opportunity. We will be following the 2023 event schedule of the Merchants Association, as they have many more events planned on the weekends throughout the year. Keeping the car show on the second Saturday of every month will help maintain the continuity of the show and not disrupt an already busy schedule of events for Canal Street. In closing, I hope the city, the Merchants Association, and the citizens of New Smyrna Beach support the effort and keep it as part of our history, past, present, and future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Caswell.
Hello, my name's William Bruce. I heard us talk about a map of our flooding and whatnot. Do you have 1555 Elizabeth Street? Do you have that on your map?
Mr. Bruce, we'll be happy to listen to what you have to say. We won't be answering questions.
Well, I mean, there it is, the Elizabeth Street. I live on the highest spot on that street. I had 3 feet of water. Now, there's a new subdivision going on Josephine, Mission. Well, they raised the grade by 5 feet there on about 1,000 acres. We saw them pumping their water, their flood water, over towards Elizabeth Street when we're flooding out. There was nothing done, nothing said. Nobody come down the street besides the Red Cross trying to feed us some lunch and said, you know, what happened here at all? And it was, a matter of fact, that grade over there probably held a foot of that flood water. and they filled it in by 5 feet. So that means we had to take that 1,000 acres of water. Yeah, they got retention ponds there that stay at a certain level. They stay at sea level. They're spring ponds. They're not retention basins. And we're just wondering, we all went through thousands, tens of thousands. I got to replace the floor in my house, you know, a couple of freezers. I had a full freezer, just had a beef killed. The Red Cross gave me $700. You know, are you guys going to put a stop to this, just building up, raising everything up 5 feet around, you know, yeah, we're in a wet spot, and there's not much we can do about it. There's no drainage there whatsoever. You're talking about putting a drainage ditch up to a Mission Road. Are you going to connect those side streets to your drainage ditch? You talked about how many millions of dollars it costs just to clear that. You should see behind my house where the ditch used to be 50 years ago. It's not there. So if you'll just mark that down, Elizabeth Street. You know, I'm good with a skate park and so on, but
Thank you, Mr. Bruce. Appreciate your comments.
Good evening. Joe Dluback, 3587 Casalta Circle, New Smyrna Beach. My comment regards a subject that Khalid had mentioned earlier. Yesterday, the city posted an announcement requesting public comment on the Pioneer Trail Interchange project. At the last City Commission meeting, I asked the open question inquiring about the city's position regarding said project. If not yet responded, and you may have, I had to leave the meeting early, I request that the City Commission provide its position during their comment section at the end of this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, by the way, thumbs up for the car show.
Thank you, sir.
Doug Sarno, 253 Minorca Beach Way. I'm here to speak in support of John Frankhauser for the open planning and zoning board seat. I believe it's important for planning and zoning boards and boards like it to have a deep diversity of technical expertise and also unbiased and open-minded servants for the community. And I believe John would bring that to the table in spades, particularly his long history as a respected professional engineer and his service to the community, I think, make him an ideal candidate. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir.
Could you please repeat your name for the record?
Doug Sarno.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tom Brown, and I live at 704 South Cooper in New Smyrna, and I have 3 quick things. First, overall, you've done the great job in slowing down the traffic on Cooper between 3rd and Ocean, where it gets wide. It used to be a freeway, and most of the people in town would recognize that, and there were speeds recorded up to 60 miles an hour. That's better now. What is not better is that it's clearly marked no trucks. And on an average day, I probably see 6 trucks going down the street. Most of them are food and beverage trucks. I'd like to see something additional done about that. I've called a lot of the companies and asked them not to do that, but I don't know how effective it is. Second, since New Smyrna Beach has the best high school volleyball team in the state, but has no usable outdoor sand volleyball courts. There are 3 lit courts in the entire county. And I would be willing to work with the city, the county, the high school, and even put in seed money to get 3 side-by-side lit courts. I run a meetup group, has over 200 people for sand volleyball. So I'm hoping something can be done with that. And lastly, I think it would be really appropriate in the picture right behind you, Mayor, to have at least one little shark fin that would represent New Smyrna as the shark bite capital of the world. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir. You can't make this stuff up, folks.
Hello, my name is Greg Flynn. I live at 13202 Newport Sound Place in New Smyrna Beach. And if you don't mind, I'm going to read my statement because I don't have a good memory. I would like to address the commission regarding John Frankhauser, a nominee for the volunteer position available for the Planning and Zoning Board. I was introduced to John Frankhauser by a mutual friend shortly after he moved to New Smyrna Beach. We ran into each other from time to time following our introduction, and interestingly enough, it was usually at a volunteer event. We got to know each other much better while we volunteered at the local Halifax Urban Ministries food pantry. John is a good citizen and an excellent professional engineer. John is highly experienced, who specializes in structural engineering. That is the design and overseeing of construction to ensure design plans are adhered to. It also involves inspecting existing structures to determine structural soundness. John's depth of experience takes him beyond that. John wants to share his expertise with the city and its citizens for the betterment of all. I highly recommend that the commission select John Frankhauser to fill the vacancy, and I believe that he is the most qualified for the position. He'll be a valuable asset to the board and a dedicated member. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir, and recommendation.
My name is Wyatt Luttrell. I live at 311 Faulkner. I'm here to furthermore reinstate the skate park needs an expansion. Take a look around the room. You'll see kids of all ages, all sizes, doesn't matter. I've been skating with some of these kids for years. They've been my friends for almost a decade now, and some I've only known for a couple of months. Nevertheless, the skate park needs an expansion. For years, we've been promised another phase, and it's never happened. We've been constantly ignored, and I don't know how crystal clear you need to see that the support is here. Nevertheless, it has increasingly grown and become very populated all over the past couple months. The support has been super definite, and I don't know how crystal clear you guys needed to see. The support is here. We're just waiting for the city to actually be on board. Thank you for your time.
Young man, thank you very much for your comments. Appreciate it.
Good evening. Stephanie Santiago, 656 South Pine Street. I know that you've all heard from me before, and you're going to continue to hear from me. You heard my neighbor before. We have a definite flooding issue. Since 2020, when I closed on my house, we have flooded 3 times. One was when they allowed the two-story houses to be erected at 2nd and Goodwin. My neighbor directly west of me built a pool, and you guys allowed them. And I say you guys because it's the lack of detail, and nobody's looking at these surveys. But they took out a 100-year-old coquina wall, which floods me in my back corner. My neighbor also shoots water every time it rains. So yes, last week when we had the little sprinkle, guess what? I had a flood in my front yard. I'm done. Somebody needs to have some kind of accountability. And I promise you I will be at every meeting because I'm looking at a corpse. I look at my home and it's a corpse. I'm looking at a dead corpse. I just took my dog to the hospital and it cost me $2,500 because I let him in the house, and guess what? The blood work came back that he was tested and high in phosphorus. Do you know what that is? That's mold. I'm done. None of you have called me. Nobody has said on South Pine, and I know that this is not a surprise to everybody since we have a commissioner here that also lives on the street, and we have a big hole in her yard. And now in the last 30 days, we have 3 houses on our south end that has 3 homes for sale. So what do you want? New people to come in and buy these homes that are sick, and then they'll get bludgeoned with poop water? Guess what? There's 3 things in life that we all get. And right now, it's still a little calm in my water for me to even talk to you guys. We need food and water. That's all one. Oxygen and a home. I'm out of a shelter. And the 18th, come January 18th, it's going to be another 30 days and another 30 days. I've been out of a home since September 29th. And I continue to sell properties around this neighborhood and in this city and everything else, and I am losing hope on the city that I stand so strong behind. So either let's get our acts together and get the plan and expedite it and put a committee together, or do something, but we can't sit on our hands anymore, you guys. Because you know what? I have a little bit more money than some people, and you know what? They're without homes.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate your comments.
Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Hi, my name is Lou Sones, and I live at 4318 Seamus Drive. And I'm here to once again recommend John Frankhauser for the open position on the Planning and Zoning Commission. Before moving to New Smyrna Beach, I sat on the Landmarks and Land Use Committee of Brooklyn Board 6 for 14 years. And I know what I only say that because I know what this work takes. In my mind, from my experience, it takes three things: expertise, a body of knowledge. John is practicing structural engineer. 2, a love of community and a desire to serve it. John volunteers at the food pantry and riverbank and highway cleanups, and is on his HOA board. And 3, doing the due diligence, homework, to offer an informed opinion on any given matter. You can't just phone this in. You can't just show up and phone it in. John checks all of these 3 boxes. And to boot, with an abundance of enthusiasm and good humor. He works very well with others. I'm sure he would be a valuable asset on this community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir.
Hi, I'm here again, once again, to put forth John Frankhauser for the Building and Planning Department Board. Last time I talked about how he's a seasoned engineer, and we listened to how the county said how important seasoned engineers are for this period of time in our history, unfortunately. And last time I talked about his ADA work at the White House. Now this time I want to stress his work with FEMA after Hurricane Sandy in New Jersey. New Jersey and New York was hit extremely hard. He was there working with FEMA. I think that's the type of person and experience that these people who experience flooding need to see you're taking action and pointing him. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, City Commissioners, Mr. Rashadat, and staff. I'm Linda Cuthbert, 1810 Red Rock Road, a 26-year veteran, retired teacher at New Smyrna Beach High School, and recently retired 2-term Volusia County School Board member for District 3. I'm all too familiar with the chaotic traffic pattern outside New Smyrna Beach High School, which our volleyball players do go through every day. Start and end of the school day. In 2014, recently elected to the school board, I embarked upon the journey to acquire traffic signal at the school's entrance on 10th Street. I received no interest from state representatives, county council members, nor city officials. Finally, 3 years ago, our then superintendent, Dr. Fritz, agreed to assist me to have Volusia County, the city of New Smyrna, Mr. Rashadat and his engineer, and Volusia County Schools to sit down for a meeting. After numerous meetings, even during COVID times, we eventually convinced our potential partners to assist us. I'm extremely grateful to Stephanie Doster, our planning director who kept all stakeholders informed and on task. We're now at the cusp of success. Our school district is a county-wide system. Our students can attend any school for any program as long as there is capacity. My own grandson, living in Port Orange, attended Edgewater Public, New Smyrna Beach Middle, and is now a junior in the Medical Academy at New Smyrna High School. New Smyrna students attend our local high school along with Edgewater students, plus many other students from all over the county, like my grandson. Our schools have no municipal boundaries. I'm here to ask for your financial support to partner with our school district, the County of Volusia, and the City of Edgewater, who has voted to support it, to pay for the traffic light. Countless Southeast area students and parents would be eternally grateful for a much safer, quicker, and less exasperating experience while entering and exiting the school. And it causes me to humbly ask for your financial assistance because we only can maintain and take care of our own property. The middle of 10th Street belongs to the municipalities. If you vote for this agenda item 7B, it would be almost an unprecedented effort, I think, for a four-way interlocal government agreement. The County of Volusia, Volusia County School District, City of Edgewater, and the City of New Smyrna in keeping our students safe while attending New Smyrna Beach High School. And on a personal note, I also support John Frankhauser as a skilled individual for valuable community service. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Linda, and for your service. And for the audience, we are well aware of Mr. For the candidate John's record. We have his resume and all the others on board, and we do hear your voices, a large number of public support for that. So we have that message loud and clear.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vicki McCard. I live at 903 Hamilton Street, and I too am here to ask you to appoint John Frankhauser to the open position on the NSB City Planning and Zoning Board, but I think I'm hearing the mayor say, enough already. So should I cease and desist, or should I carry on, Mr. Mayor?
Ma'am, if you have something extra to add to what is a very amazing resume, please go right ahead.
Well, I was going to mention his degree in architectural engineering, specializing in business structures from Penn State University, which I don't believe anyone has mentioned Penn State. He evaluated damage to more than 30 homes in New Jersey after Hurricane Sandy. And John has no business interests currently or previously in New Smyrna Beach. This is a very important consideration for me personally. He's not indebted or beholden to anyone who may petition the board. I think people have mentioned his volunteer service, including at the Halifax Urban Ministries NSB Food Bank. I've been a full-time resident of New Smyrna Beach for 6 years, and I want to know that my planning and zoning board is making decisions in the interest of myself and the entire community. I'm confident that John Frankhauser is the applicant we all can count on to fill this position with the best qualifications, the most experience, and unimpeachable integrity. That's why I'm asking you to support his application. Thank you for considering my request.
Thank
Had
you
a
so
pretty
much.
strong finish there, right?
Thank you so much for your comments, ma'am. Appreciate that.
Good evening, Stephanie Dosser, Volusia County Schools, 3750 Olson Drive, Daytona Beach, Florida. Good evening, commissioners, Mayor Cleveland, and city staff. I want to thank you so much for advocating for this traffic light at New Smyrna Beach High School and pursuing a cost-sharing partnership with the city of Edgewater. This multi-governmental cooperation between Volusia County Schools, and these two municipalities has been an amazing effort, with students and community safety at the forefront of these efforts. If you choose to approve this city participation tonight, you will help realize, as you've already heard, an 8-year pursuit for safety initiated by Ms. Linda Cuthbert, former chair and your district representative for the Volusia County School Board for 8 years. She has fought and achieved significant improvements for New Smyrna Beach schools, and her dedication to the community and the students is commendable. Most importantly, you will help enhance the safety of your area residents and student drivers, who we know do not have the driving experience that, for risk aversion and the maturity that is needed to have a safe roadway in front of a high school. This light would be imperative. Thank you for your continued support, and I hope tonight we can just jumpstart the success of this new project.
Thank you for your comments, ma'am.
Hello, Mayor, staff. I'm a resident of Oak Hill, but I'm employed at 1015 10th Street, New Smyrna Beach. I serve as the principal of New Smyrna Beach High School, somewhere that I have served for some 17 years, and I've had an opportunity to have an impact on the students in the community, an opportunity to see how the school operates. I'm here to support Ms. Cuthbert, Ms. Doster, with the request, or I do support that we make the roadways safer for our citizens, for our students. That's a dangerous intersection, particularly at drop-off and release. Our students are young, they're young drivers. Occasionally they get into fender benders, occasionally they misread traffic. But if you're leaving New Smyrna Beach High School to head toward US 1, toward McDonald's, if you want to turn left, there's oncoming traffic. You have to get out to the middle just to avoid the oncoming traffic. But there's not enough space in the middle to hold up if you guess wrong, because there's traffic coming from the other direction as well. And in order for our students to be safe, I think it's a good idea to put a light there so that the students don't have all that guesswork to do. In my time there, I've seen 2 nasty accidents where one kid went out, he guessed wrong and he had to go. He floored it, went all the way across into the woods near Daytona State College. And then I've seen another accident there where the kid was hit, his truck flipped over several times, and he ended up in intensive care. So I think that that intersection is a tough navigation for our students, and at times it puts residents in the way as well. So I do hope that you'll give strong consideration to what it looks like there and how impactful it would be for the safety and security of our residents and our students if you're able to assist in the funding of the light. So thank you for your time.
Principal Jones, thank you so very much for taking care of our children, and thank you for coming and talking to us tonight. It really means a lot. Thank you.
Mayor, I think you just broke your own rule there.
Mayor's, it's a privilege of the position every now and then.
I'm Wes Hayden. I reside at 1004 North Peninsula, and I'm here to represent in the interest of efficiency and expediency, I'm here to represent the community members that support David McKenna for the position of City Planning and Zoning Director. David's enthusiasm and his intelligence and energy, I think, will be a big asset to the city, and I'll keep it short and sweet and just say there are many of us who do support David for the position.
Thank you, Mr. Hayden. Appreciate your remarks.
Good evening, Liz Jones, 314 Canal Street, and president of the Canal Street Historic District. And I'm here representing our members who have businesses on Canal Street. We are very pleased about the new car show, and we hope that you approve it. Thank you.
Thank you very much there, Liz. Appreciate that. Better hurry, Jess.
Good evening. Name is Jess Romero, 708 South Cooper Street. Hi, Kelly. Let's see. Hello, hello. Is there anybody out there? Just nod if you can hear me. Is there anyone home? I use those words to remind us most of you were either on a dais or in the room when we had our first meeting after Hurricane Ian. We heard the horrific and heartbreaking stories of the Pine Island residents, how they went through the flooding and what they were going through. We also heard other things, and most of them were heroics from the staff of the city, how they reacted after and during the hurricane. At that night, I asked that we do an after-action report of what the city did right, what it did wrong, what were the limiting factors, why they couldn't do their job, if it was possible, and to where we look for the future. If it happens again, to have a checklist and say, at 72 hours is what we do, 48 hours is what we do, 24 hours is what we do, and after the hurricane, how do we recover? Now, I ask for that because a lot of the folks that are listening to this thing now in the media, or the ones in the room, were not here during the time when this meeting happened. A lot of good things happened from the city. A lot of the staff did a great job that was not being told publicly. So I asked for that report to come out so we know how well the city works. And if we have limiting factors, how we can address those, how you guys can address those, and we as citizens find out how we can support you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your remarks, Jess.
How y'all doing? I'm Morgan Denny. I'm 7 generations of New Smyrna Beach. I live at 310 Routh Avenue. I just left the meeting over there. We're going to have the upgrade with the power lines out there. And one of the questions I asked them, they said they had 100 different avenues that they looked at here and there, and where they were going to put them, and they chose 2. And I said, well, how many of those were underground? They told me 0. Didn't even take it under consideration, which 99.9% of the people that were there complaining would all be happy if it was underground. And I was straight, bald-faced lied to. One woman told me it can't be put underground, and the next one said, well, it can be, but it's costly. But what got me also was the people that got the notice that the meeting was even happening lived right on where the power lines were going. I lived 1 block off of it, and nobody in my neighborhood even had any idea. And they should let everyone in New Smyrna Beach that pays utilities, let them know that it's happening so we can all have a voice in it, instead of just, there wasn't 40 people at that whole meeting because nobody knew it was happening. And the next one they have, they should let us all know. In their website that you go to, you can pull up the website, there's nothing there about it at all. And the woman told me that, well, once we make our mind up, then we'll put it on the website. And I was like, well, you're going 180 degrees the wrong way. And that's pretty much all I got to say. But,
Thank you
like
for the
6, 7
information.
generations, I've watched this New Smyrna Beach. I grew up in Paradise and didn't know it. And I left the beachside 25 years ago because it was ruined. And now they're coming on over the bridge, and they want to ruin that too. We need to slow it down with all this building. And like everybody says, build everything this high. My house was moved off of Orange Avenue back in the 50s. Nobody knows exactly when and where it sits now, but we flooded also. I didn't get my house that sits up, my whole neighborhood flooded, and they just keep building higher and higher and higher. They need to slow it down. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir.
Mayor, if I can
Go
interrupt
right
real
ahead,
quick.
please.
Gentlemen, I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. So I just want to make you aware that the city and the utilities are 2 separate entities, and they have a utilities commission, which is a board that functions like we do for them. For some reason, it's not as known, but I want to encourage you to go. They have a meeting on the Monday. Is it the 3rd Monday of every month? So I believe it's the 3rd Monday of every month. It's a public meeting.
But nobody knows about it. Unless
No, I know. That's why I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I'm letting you know. So I just want you to know that there is a board that is appointed by the commission, this commission, and they are the Utilities Commission Board, and they are there to function similar to how we function for the city residents. They do that for the Utilities Commission. So I want to encourage you to go to their meeting, which is a public meeting, and go ahead and state your concerns, because they're the tip of the spear. They're the first. They're the people you really want to get to first, because they have an authority and an access that we don't necessarily have. So appreciate you coming in. Always feel free to do so and let us know your feelings. But I just wanted to pass that along.
All right,
That the Utilities Commission has a commission that you go to publicly and speak the same way.
Okay, that's the same people that just told me that they couldn't put it underground.
Thank you, sir. Is there anybody else, anyone else, any other citizen for public participation? Seeing none, public participation is now closed. Continuing with the agenda, we have a consent agenda. Does any member of the commission wish to remove any of the items on the consent agenda for later discussion?
I would like to pull 6F for discussion, please.
6F.
Okay. I have comments on 6B, but I thought I would take them in the
6B?
ordinance. Yeah, 6B, but it's connected to 9D, so I can comment either place.
Okay, okay. So you're okay with it going forward on 6B as long as you can talk on 9? Okay. Anyone else? Okay. Very good. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Is there a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, like sign. Motion carries 5-0. Now we'll move on to the administrative business and new business, administrative items. Yes, sir.
We have a discussion, 6F.
6F. was
6F?
pulled. Yeah. Yes.
We're gonna, do you want to have the discussion before?
She pulled it.
Yeah, I got it pulled. Okay, very good. We can do it now. I was gonna tag it on at the end, but we can do it now. Okay?
I just would like to make a few comments. Several of the residents and around that area, that's the Barracuda Bridge area that's under construction. I'd like to add a few comments to that other than what we have on the agenda about the sidewalk. And this is coming from several different residents that we need to do a crosswalk there, showing painting like the other person had mentioned, and we need to time the light and also look at the speed limits. Right now, they're 25 or 30 and taking that corner through the detour, and the construction is way too fast. And that area, when we go to vote on it, it's just a lot of traffic there now because of the routing. So if we could add that to that, and then
For clarity, are you proposing that the project as awarded and the contract as awarded
to include that, or
not-
at least to
not be awarded, and we change the scope of work of the contract?
Mayor, if I may?
Yes, please.
I think the item is for the sidewalk. I think the crosswalk that she's talking about, we could add it, we could do it ourselves. The timing on the traffic light, that will be done by DOT, as well as the speed limits. DOT, when we're working on the bridge, obviously from Barracuda to Coyasisi, the speed limit was different. So for people who use the low-speed vehicles, so DOT has agreed to lower the speed in that section. So they will do that. They will do lowering the speed, timing on the traffic light. We will add the crosswalk. And Kyle is here, I think. I saw him there. He's right there. So we'll do that.
thank you.
Okay, so can I have a motion then on 6F?
Motion to approve 6F.
Have a motion to approve 6F. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, like sign. The motion carries. Thank you for the technical clarification.
Thank you.
I appreciate all that. On to administrative items and new business. City Manager, do you have a report? Would you like to
Yes,
set this
sir.
up for us?
let me
Item
just-
7A on the position classification before Director Kidd comes up.
Yes, sir. Let me just give you a brief, and then I have the our HR director here will give us some more details. But if you recall, back in October 2021, we added 2 positions, which was the part-time CIP coordinator, as well as the part-time grant writer. However, we had a hard time filling these positions because it's part-time, doesn't have any benefits, so we didn't have any attraction there. So we came back to the commission and we combined the 2 positions together. So I want to have Heather to talk about the benefit of combining the 2 together, and also the difference in terms of the dollars associated with it. Also, there's a second part to the item, and that is regarding the Victim Act advocate. So we wanted to reclassify that position. So Heather, if you would please just give us more detail on these 2 issues.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me. We come back to this because we were here last time and we had some other positions added in there, so we wanted to simplify this a little bit, look at these two specific positions. So our part-time capital projects coordinator and the part-time grants writer, as Khalid said, were added last year in the budget. They were posted immediately, but we haven't had very many qualified applicants applying for those, and we really believe that that has to do with the benefits that are not offered as a part-time position for either one of those. We've had some interest where people have come to us and said, I'd really like that if that was a full-time position. So I think that's something that we really need to consider for these two positions. I talked with our capital projects manager, Todd Alexander, talked to him about how he could manage that position and take those two things underneath him, because dealing with capital projects, he's also dealing with a lot of our grants. And so that's something that he's willing to take on as a manager and oversee that position, oversee that person, and get some help there too. And with the part-time capital projects coordinator, you know, we have a lot of projects going on. We have a lot happening in our city. And so that's something where we have always looked at having some assistant there for him so that he could get some help with the projects that are going on. He can make sure that I lost my word, I'm so sorry. But so that he can make sure that everything stays on track, and he can make sure that those things happen for us, for our city, to make sure that we're going there. So we would recommend that you take those two part-time positions and combine them into one full-time position. We're also, as Khalid said, we're looking at taking we have two budgeted victim advocate positions. The grant that we have for those positions requests that you have someone designated as a coordinator for that. That person makes sure that our grant things get filled out. They would work with the grants coordinator if that position is put into one, and work with them so that we can make sure everything gets completed correctly. Working in the police department, they're very busy in that position. As you can imagine, it would also be a lead, training the new person that we've been trying to recruit and getting some work done there. So those are the two things that we're looking at. For fiscal analysis for those two positions, I worked with the finance department, and you can see in the resolution for the budget, because we're taking the part-time capital projects coordinator and the part-time grants writer, we modified their pay grades just enough where it puts them kind of in the middle. The original budget that we did for our part-time capital projects person was set with the incumbent that we had when we made some of those changes. That person had been with the city for a little while, and so the salary there was a little bit higher. By combining those two positions and changing that, we'd be looking at dropping the salary a little bit for one and barely raising it for the other. And what happens when we do a fiscal analysis on that, with our salaries and all of our benefits combined, along with the increase that we would see for the victim advocate coordinator, beginning a little bump there, we would still overall in our budget come up with a decrease in the overall budget. So we'd save about $1,800 by doing that. So we looked at those options too for you.
Thank you, Heather. Other comments from you, Khalid, before we ask the commission for questions?
I think, Mayor, you have mentioned in our job description, somehow the grant writer requirement was not added to the job description. So I just want to make sure that we will add that to the job description for the grant writer.
Very good. It was just, Heather, it was an oversight, I'm sure. This, in the position description of these two, the CIP and the grant writer, there were no qualifications required for the grant writer. So if you add that in, that'd be great. Are there any commissioners with questions or comments about this?
I think it's a well thought out proposal. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Heather. Item 7A1 is resolution number 7122. Khalid, would you set this one up, please?
Yes, sir. Obviously, you heard Mrs. Cuthbert talking about our coordination and collaboration with Volusia County School Board and Volusia County, and this was during the pandemic where we had several meeting virtuals at the time. The idea was to have a partnership, a three-way partnership, Volusia County, Volusia School Board, and the City of New Smyrna Beach. At the time, I had presented to the commission. The commission they approved the concept, but we did not approve it officially based on the funding. The construction cost is about $300,000, and the partnership was for the city of New Smyrna Beach, 100,000. However, at the time, the commission asked me to reach out to the city of Edgewater to see if they could participate based on the number of students from the city of Edgewater that go to the high school. I have called Mrs. Dotzer at the time, and there was 739 students from Edgewater that goes to the high school. So we approached the city. They said no, they couldn't use any transportation impact funding to participate. We took it back again this time, and thankfully, yesterday, I want to thank the mayor and the council in Edgewater and the city manager for reconsidering that request, and it was approved at their regular meeting last night for $38,790, if I recall correctly. So our request, instead of being 100,000 at this point, it would be the 100,000 minus the 38,790. This it's a safety issue. The funding for this will be used out of our transportation impact fee. It's a new traffic light that will be used. It will be used during the school hours and also when it's needed. I think it will be tremendous safety improvements on 10th Street for the sidewalk, for the safety of the high school kids. So with that, Mayor, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions by anyone? Yes, Kelly?
Yes, I'm just trying to go back and
Did I miss
see
one?
if I can get some order. Well, 7A1 was the resolution that kind of held hands with 7A, the position classifications, but city manager just went over 7B, so I don't want to forget about
You want
7A1.
us to vote on the first one as well?
Yes, and the first two votes that you did for the consent and for the one that Commissioner Perrine wanted for the discussion, it does require a roll call vote for our charter.
Thank you for squaring me away.
You're welcome.
All right, so very good. This is a technical protocol, and I'm delighted to have the city clerk making sure we don't miss a step here. So we'll go back. Colin, we're going to go back to the 7F, which is taken off the consent agenda, and it becomes an item under itself. And we have a motion and a second, and you'd like to call the roll. Is that right?
Yes.
And this is on the Quayasisi Sidewalk Extension Project.
Yes, consent
Okay.
item 6F, motion was made by Vice Mayor Hartman, seconded by Commissioner Perrine. Roll call vote, Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
All right.
And 7-1A is a companion to that?
The consent agenda as a whole, with the exception of 6F, the motion was made by Commissioner Martin, seconded by Commissioner McGurk. Roll call vote would be Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
All right. And then now it's the resolution. Item number 7A1.
Also
resolution
requires a roll call?
Yes.
Motion to approve Resolution 71-22.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? Any more discussion on that? That's great news overall. Thank you, Colin, for that work. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you all.
Okay, we'll move on to 7C, which is the consideration of the solar options for the city building.
I think we missed 7B when we just voted on
7B.
7A1.
My error.
Is that correct?
That's correct, 7B.
We did not vote on the
Traffic light.
the traffic light? All right. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the traffic light participation.
Second.
I'll second.
Discussion.
Discussion. Go ahead, Commissioner.
It's my understanding that 10th Street is actually a county road, not a city road. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a county road in that section, but it's obviously it's in the city limits. So
Right. So I don't mean to be the elephant in the room, but I have a little concern in that when you buy a new house or purchase a new house, you're paying county road impact fees. You're paying county school tax impact. We're taxed by the county through our ad valorem tax. We're taxed by the school board through our ad valorem tax. And now we're again going to be giving tax dollars to the school board and to the county, which we have no jurisdiction over. I understand it's a safety issue, but when we looked at putting the artificial turf at the sports complex and redoing the track, those were all almost $1.5 million that we spent out of our money for the safety of the kids and the people who use that. So I just have a problem with taxing upon taxing upon taxing when it wasn't even in our budget process. So we're going to have to pull this out of, I guess, impact fees, traffic impact fees?
It's a transportation impact fees, and Vice Mayor, I mentioned that during the budget, and I said if the commission approves this traffic signal, that this actually was in the budget. We didn't officially put it there, but we were prepared to use it. I think the safety, that's what I said at the time of the budget. It's not in the budget, but I think the safety of our students, I think it's probably more important than is it a county road or a city road. The traffic light that we put up on 44, that's on DOT road. And we were able to use a transportation impact fee. So that's what we use in terms of the reasoning for it.
But even Ms. Cuthbert stated at the last meeting that a lot of the problem out there is that the parents are queuing up on the roadway itself, blocking the bicycle lane and blocking part of the driving lane, which cause a vision problem trying to make that left-hand turn out of the church, out of the school. So if this passes tonight, I would certainly encourage the school board and the county sheriff's department to do some enforcement along that roadway to prevent that kind of traffic backup to where it is also implicating traffic and safety concerns going forward. Because they'll back up all the way up to the middle school and sit and wait for kids to come out of the school for parents to take them home. They seriously need to look at revamping the whole way that they do their pickup process, or even opening the gates sooner to alleviate some of those other traffic concerns. Those are my comments.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Appreciate that. And that was educational.
I'd like to add a few things to that as well. I'm with Randy with that. I made a couple contacts about the school and that, and I actually delayed that from our last meeting to try to get the wait and see that we got Edgewater money, and we did. But in the meantime, while I was waiting, I heard that this light isn't going to fix all the problems, as you alluded. There's only one entryway in the morning for the students to go in, and that's a problem. The school needs to relook at that and address that, and that came from several of the people in the school and teachers. So I agree with that. I think the traffic problem's only going to be part of the solution.
I'll go ahead and add that I certainly share and echo the sentiments about what appears to be the double taxation from our residents, and in this case would be Edgewater residents for contributing. You know, it's a messy system. I don't like it. It is what it is. I'm going to support the traffic light. I think it's very important. I know that Linda Cuthbert and Khalid and Stephanie Doster have spent a lot of time on, trying to get this all figured out, and I do appreciate the work that they've done by getting Edgewater on board with this. But, there's a number of things the school board does, which, I'm sure they have their side, but they seem to make decisions, and they're far-reaching into the community and are in a city, in the city and in the city budget. So, to me, this just reflects better cooperation between the school board and the cities when projects like schools are going to be put in and so forth. That's it.
Any other commissioner? I echo the remarks and the education from Vice Mayor Hartman. And if there was ever a place to do it, it would be in the name of safety for children. We have a new county school board member who happens to be New Smyrna resident, Jesse Thompson, who I'm surprised was not here to, or a member of the school board did not come and engage us. So I think we should do the same, call it. I think we should reach out and actually engage them. School tax dollars are not insignificant, part of our tax structure. And surely in the name of safety, we concur, but rightfully, as the Vice Mayor points out, it's in the county, and as Commissioner Perrine echoed, there are more problems than that light will fix. The light will help, but there are many more problems, to include policies that only the school board and that school can enact.
And Mayor, I would reach out to the school board. I know that there was some issue with the middle school, almost in a similar fashion, and I think when we reach out to them, I think we met with them several times, and they have made some changes to improve the pickup and the drop-off. So we will reach out to them again if that's what the issue is, and I still support the traffic light. And again, it's coming out of transportation impact fees. It's not out of our general fund, understanding that they have a tax base as well, but this is it's a partnership, and partnerships are built on collaboration. So.
Well said, thank you. So we have a motion and a second. We've had our discussion. Kelly, call the roll, please.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
No.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perrine?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we will go to item 7C, the consideration of the solar options for the city buildings. City Manager, would you set this up before
Yes.
Director Ray comes up?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Vice Mayor Hartman have asked us at the last meeting to bring back, I guess, some options in terms of the solar feasibility. We have done a solar feasibility back in 2019, where experts from UCF, they have done a study on all our city facilities and buildings. And they concentrated mainly on the buildings that have potential to have a net zero energy production. So our maintenance operation director, we have asked him to look at several buildings and come back with options for us. But in the meantime, we want to look at the return on investment. So that's, right now we have 4 city buildings that they could potentially be used for solar, which that's the Coronado Civic Center, the maintenance operation, the golf course, pro shop, and as well as the sport complex, office and the shop building. The maintenance operation director, based on the study and based on the information we have before us, he is recommending to use it at the sport complex. I will have David to go and give you some more details in terms of the numbers, and then we will be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. As Khalid was talking about, attached that you'll see in front of you as well is the full feasibility study that you can look over as well. Some of the options that also go into some of the recommendations we have tonight is the typical life of a solar panel is 25 to 30 years. So one of the other aspects we were looking into is when are some of these roofs that we would potentially put these on, when are they due to be replaced? So on top of the sport complex, as Khalid said, the Coronado Civic Center, it would be another option that could give us a net zero, and that roof is not due to be replaced until 2055. So that fits within the 25 to 30 years that we would be looking at for the solar panels. And another option, it wouldn't quite give us the net zero, but a third option would be the Live Oak Cultural Center. It would lower the energy bill, but it would fit within the 25 to 30 year lifespan of the roof, as that roof is due to be replaced in 2058. And that also, those two also have a 13.3 and a 13.4 year ROI on those. The sport complex has a ROI of roughly 14.4 years. So the net, and along with these estimated installation costs, what that does not have included, which when we go out to bid, if this is approved, is those are actually 3 facilities that don't have a generator. So along with that, we would be looking to install an energy bank, if you will. So if we do lose power, we would have power in those facilities for a certain amount of time.
The generator would be a cost in addition to what we see listed here.
Correct. It wouldn't be a generator, it would be a solar bank, if you will.
A battery, a giant battery.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you, David. Any other questions? Any other discussion by any commissioner?
Yeah, I'd like to say that I am a big fan of alternative clean energy solutions. I'm concerned, however, about the heavy metals, especially lithium, used in these panels, not to mention the limited local suppliers. And there is a limited amount of lithium in the world, and end-of-life impact is very hard on the environment. So my question is, have we exhausted economic and passive measures such as high LRV paint and insulation and simple caulking to reduce air conditioning costs, motion-sensitive lighting systems? There are even, what do you call it, coatings that you can put on existing roofs that provide a high reflectivity factor, which would reduce the use of energy. And I also wanted sort of growing information on fire-related to lithium batteries. We see it mainly in the cars, and particularly sensitive with saltwater intrusion. And I can't help to think, I'm wild guess here, that there's a lot of saltwater around here. So I wondered if that would have any impact on insurance. You know, is fire insurance going to suddenly go up because we have these lithium battery panels on our roofs? I don't know. I haven't asked, so it was just a thought.
Sure.
Okay, I'm assuming, David, you'll take those items forward and get back to us as a group.
Yes, sir.
Interesting.
Mayor, one
Yes,
comment.
go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. David, appreciate all of the information. I think I've said this to you before in the past. You know, historically, when we've looked at this, and we talk about ROIs and whether or not there's an actually net benefit. In the past, apples to apples, we didn't actually save money. Kind of like buying a Prius, right? You paid so much more for it up front, it didn't actually net benefit you on the dollar amount of the gas you saved over the life of the car.
Right.
Historically, now things have changed over the past year or so. So I have not gotten into this as deeply as I wanted to. But I just want to make it clear that when I do, I'm going to challenge you and make sure. So I'm not against any of this. I think it's fantastic. But I don't necessarily want to bill it as a net savings when it's not.
Right.
I'm more interested in simply acknowledging it as a green initiative, reducing carbon footprints, and, you know, the overall net benefit for the environment. Right. So there's a lot of different ways that I can justify this and support this. But I want to make sure when we start talking about a return on investment and net dollar benefit that we're comparing apples to apples. And I think when we did the lights at the sports complex one time, it was all great. But the expectation was that the lights that we put up had to go out like 25 or 30 years. Right. And we knew that would never happen, even though they claimed that, you know, I buy a 25-year shingle. If I get 12 or 15 years out of it, I'm lucky, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it's great, and I want to pursue this as aggressively as we can. So it looks like a great report. But I want to make sure that we're presenting this right, and I want to make sure. I'm going to be paying close attention to that. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
All right, thank you.
Yes,
So-
Vice Mayor.
As we move forward, this was done in 2019. We're 3 years later. The UC has raised their rates on the electricity usage. So now that we've identified the 3 or 4 buildings, can we take a dive back into that and just say, you know, what is our current electric rate today? And what is the current panel cost today? And how that would reflect, would that give us any better return on our investment? I think the sports center is a great location, but I have some concerns about the salt water in the air, and is that going to really cause, you know, more problems in the long run? So, but those two things, and to Ms. Martin's point, in the study, they looked at everything that could reduce power consumption and/or energy efficiency. So they looked at caulking, they looked at HV replacements, you know, they looked at some of this painting on some of the buildings. And so that was all done in the report when they did the report out of UCF. But I think we probably, you know, to truly look at what today's costs are as we go forward with this and see, is there any significant changes in that? You know, we talk about being environmentally sensitive, resiliency, and yet we don't want to take that first step for some reason. So I think, and I agree with you, I'm not so sure that we're going to get the life expectancy out of it, but we have no numbers. We have nothing to compare with. And, you know, so we at least should, you know, the problem with a lot of these things was we never had funding before. We had a funding source for this. This will give us that option. And if truly, if we're getting a good return on our investment going forward as we build a new structure, or, you know, as we put in a new fire station or something like that, we need to look at those environmental things. So, I mean, at the solar possibility for those buildings. So, thank you for all the hard work on this. You know, as you know, I'm a big supporter of it, so.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Any other comments by any of the other commissioners? So it occurs to me, David, that in the residential applications, there are vendors that provide modeling for current consumption and power usage and cost per kilowatt, as opposed to what the solar option would be. I mean, and they have that on the rack. They do that for a living, that modeling, something that we would buy if we were doing it on our own. So perhaps exploring some of the vendors and seeing what they'll do for free to come in and say, hey, let me give you the cost trade-off benefit analysis for building X, building Y, and building Z. Might not have cost us a dime, but it would tend to everything that you're hearing from the panel by an expert. I mean, David, you're a smart guy, but they're gonna forget more than you and I are gonna learn about this thing, right? Yeah. So let's let them come and talk to us, and then we'll put it through the sniff check to see if it's real or fake before we move forward. Okay. No other questions? Thank you so much there, Director Ray, for all your hard work. Item 7D is a discussion about the previous commission's ranking of the ARPA priority ranking of the ARPA list.
Yes,
and
Mayor.
so, Khalid, would you tee this up for us
Yes.
and allow us to have a discussion about this?
I'll be delighted to do that, Mayor. Thank you. I just want to go back in history a little bit here, so this way you have some background. When we had the ARPA fund, which is the American Rescue Plan Act, I think the city received close to about $40 million, 13 and change. The city commission at the time, they asked the city manager to come up with a list of projects. And also the commission has provided list of projects. And so we compiled the list of these projects and we presented them back to the commission in the large list. And we asked the commission to rank each project. So if you look at this before you, you could see the mayor ranked and also Commissioner McGurk and Commissioner Kalodi and Commissioner Hartman and also Commissioner Sachs. And then after they rank each one, then I took him back and then I kind of ranked the whole entire list. So when you look at this list, You know, obviously, we have the stormwater master plan for the historic West Side and the Kobe Park, where they played a big part in this ARPA funds. So we want to make sure that they were included. We have included some for the North Beach. We have spent some money on Hope Avenue that some of you might recall. We did a big pump there, as well as a generator for the Esther Street. And also for, I guess, one of the public participants was asking about the crosswalk. I think it's Mr. Luttrell. I'm not sure if you're aware of the streetscape that we will be doing on the entire street. And then we will have new crosswalks and everything else. But in case if we need to have a crosswalk now, I will make sure the staff will do that. So thank you for pointing it out. The Washington Street streetscape, it's the entire stretch from Riverside all the way to US 1. We also have put it there for $2.5 million for resurfacing. Obviously, from the study that we have back in 2019, we had a consultant do a survey in all the city streets. And at the time, the consultant recommending that we supposed to fund $1.2 million each year in order to keep on track. And we were about $250,000 that we were budgeting for resurfacing. So back in 2020 and 21, we have budgeted $700,000, but I think we took this opportunity to put the $2.5 million just to slightly catch up on the resurfacing program. The commission has approved a one-time wage adjustment for employees. That was done in order to retain and attract some employees as well. We had the police departments, the air conditioner, it's going on as we speak. The sport complex track, same thing, they're working on it. The skate park expansion, we put $500,000. That was based on the discussion with the commission. We tried to apply for the ECHO grants. They submitted the conceptual. However, the ECHO board, they wanted some more details. So we were not approved that year. We will have to go back and have some more detail on the park itself in order to resubmit for the ECHO. We talked about the solar panels, the Canal Street improvements. We have met with the Canal Street merchants. We continuing to talk to them. We had the hurricanes. I think that's what kind of stopped us a little bit. I have asked David to go back to them. And also there is funding there for the Flagler Avenue improvements. Mayor and I have, I think, a meeting with the Flagler with FABA coming in. So we will be using the same amount on Flagler and do some improvement as well. The pier replacement, we have $500,000. That was to address some of these small piers that we have. I know the spyglass keeps coming back. Commission has decided to demolish it. Then Commissioner Colody brought it back for us to do an inspection on it and come back with a recommendation. Still, the consultant came back and said you have to replace the entire pier. That pier was built by a private citizen on a public right-of-way, and they were supposed to maintain it. However, I don't think they did maintain it. Maybe the person who built it moved out of the area. But anyway, so right now we have $19,000 minus whatever we paid for the consultants. That was specifically budgeted for the demolition of the spyglass. But some of you keep getting emails about the spyglass pier, and I think Commissioner Martin just got one recently. So there is some commitments on these items. I would be more than happy to discuss any item of these that you think there's a possibility you want to take out, but I would caution you that this took some efforts and the staff and the commission in order to come up with this list. So, and one thing I want to point out is that the money has to be obligated by December 31st of 2024 and has to be spent by December 31st of 2026. So that's just a side note for you to consider. So with that, Mayor, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, is there discussion or questions or comments from any of the commissioners? Commissioner Martin.
The ARPA funding, when we did this, when the previous commission did this analysis and ranking, I'd like to point out that it was before Hurricanes Ian and Nicole. So I believe that Ian and Nicole highlighted the economic impact of flooding and the need to prioritize proactive action. Protect. And it appears that to figure this one out, we have to work on two separate but related issues. The Jones-Edmond watershed analysis of the evolution of the ISBA watershed, documentation of the evolution of our stormwater systems. So I believe that in light of what has happened since the ARPA funding was originally discussed, we may choose to prioritize figuring out how to handle border to border in New Smyrna Beach as a floodplain. Thank you.
Other, do you want to respond to that, Khalid, or do any other commissioner want? Before this is over, I'd love to understand the senior, more with the most experience, the Vice Mayor and Commissioner McGurk, how your thought processes went and how you feel today as a result of what Commissioner Martin just said. Respond to that at any time.
Obviously, as she mentioned, this was done before Ian and Nicole. However, if you look at the majority of the top projects there, it's all about stormwater. Plus, we have our stormwater utility fee that it's into the mix as well. Keep in mind that as a result of the hurricanes in 2017 and 18, the commission has obligated some funding to elevate some of these homes and to demo and rebuild some of these homes. You know, obviously we applied for a FEMA grant for those, but the city has obligated 12.5% of the 25% of local share that we're supposed to put into the grant. The grant obviously is a 75-25. And again, it's some of these items already in progress. I'm not sure which item. The only item that I think Commissioner Martin was probably referring to is the skate park and the solar panels. I think that's the only two items that probably we have not committed at this point because we haven't got the grant. But there's a grant there available for us for the skate park. The skate park is in dire need of improvement, and we have waited, I guess, a couple of years. So that's all I got at this point.
It just would help. We attended League of Cities of Volusia County training session today, the new one, we newbies, and one of the hallmarks of a great commission is to honor the previous commission's work, and before it's undone, to understand how it was conceived and have that level of communication. So I would really be informed if you guys can help us understand.
So everything that you see on here has been a topic of discussion for the last 5 years, with the exception of one or two things that have broken recently. You can see that these are things that we never really put in the budget because the lack of funding. We never had the funding for the skate park. We never had the funding for the solar, septic to sewer, the pier replacement. All of that kept getting pushed back. So when we had the opportunity to receive these ARPA funds, This was a great time to take care of some projects that have been kicked down the road for several years, and we thought it was a great opportunity to get them off the slate and take care of them. I understand now that we've faced new problems and new issues with the recent storm event. But there's more money coming. There'll be more money available either through the federal or the state to fund some of these projects. But we don't even know what those issues are yet. We don't know what the problems are until we complete this study. Then you're going to have to go out through the whole process. I don't think you're going to be able to get it done in time for the date that these things terminate. So I would encourage us to take what those who before us did, keep the list as is, to get these projects off our list so we don't have to pay, and we can budget going forward for those items that are identified going forward. Like you said, most of this was stormwater. Almost, $4 million has to deal with stormwater, either master plans or pump replacements or, the beachside master planning to look at, Esther Street. We're all part of, stormwater issues that we had not been able to fund in the past. The same with Washington Street. Any one of you want to walk up and down the sidewalk on Washington, you're taking your life in your own hands every day out there. So, these things are big ticket items that need to be repaired, and this was the only way to do it. We have the opportunity for ECHO grants for the sports complex. I'm sure there's grant opportunities for the solar projects. It's a big push on a federal level right now. I know there's local people who have grants available to us. So, these are certainly things. We don't even know what those costs were going to be. Wherever we decide to put it, we may not spend the $300,000. But I think, I don't want to speak for Jason, but I sat up here for 6 years, and all of these projects are not new. They've all been before us before. We kicked them down the road because we didn't increase the millage rate. We didn't want to increase taxes, and we tried to keep the budget within our means during those times. This was an opportunity to do those things that we just hadn't been doing in the past. So, I don't just, obviously my ranking isn't like everybody else, but I accepted what the consensus of the dais was at the time. And I think we just need to go forward with that. And then as these new problems come up, we can look at alternative funding or how are we going to pay for these, whatever the final determination is on what the problem is. If the problem is seawater rising with the storm surges and stuff like that, you can't fix that. That's a Mother Nature thing. So, some of these issues with the Corbin Park stormwater had to deal with Turnbull Creek and the way it had been overgrown and it hasn't been dredged and issues like that. So that's why we put the money in there. We have to already have the money, so let's get going on it and see if in fact it does make those differences and we do make improvements on stormwater flow going forward. And your cooperation with the county, these are all county stormwater systems that have failed for years and years, and they've never kept maintaining them. And so, maybe we need to go to them to say, hey, kick in some money for these stormwater projects that we're faced, because most of the people, not most, but a lot of the people who you've heard tonight or in the past are county residents. They don't live in the city limits of New Smyrna Beach. So, that's where we're going to have to collectively, if we can't ever determine, what the problem was and what caused all the catastrophic things that happened, then how are we going to fix them? And then you have to have a plan going forward. And I can tell you, city government does not move quickly. We'll spend 2 or 3 years before you ever even get, a final product to go to the table to look for the funding. So we have time and opportunity.
Could I just ask a question? Of the 1,000+ houses that were flooded in New Smyrna Beach, How many, are those all city of New Smyrna Beach, or did we include all houses within the ISBA?
To the best of my knowledge, the city of New Smyrna Beach.
Okay, so we have about 1,000 or more houses from the city, not the county, the
Right.
city, here in New Smyrna Beach.
Commissioner McGurk.
Thank you, Mayor. You know, echo a lot of what Randy said. I think Colin started off this conversation by saying a lot of time was spent in this, and the reality of it was whether it was the previous 5 or this 5, you have 5 people with all kinds of differing opinions. And this money, you know, let me just kind of bring it down to the level of, we have the lowest millage, the lowest tax rate in the entire county. And we have been operating like that for decades, for the most part. The reality of it is, and you see all the new people coming, we just had someone who wants volleyball courts. We want landscape meetings, we want pickleball courts. I mean, it goes on and on and on. The people who've come to the community and they want amenities and quality of life and level of service that they got or expect from previous communities. And we're struggling because this was always a poor blue-collar working class town, and you didn't get taxed anything, but you didn't get anything. So we're struggling with this. This is a very important historic part of our city that is probably the #1 issue overall that we have to deal with is the budget. So the list that is on here is, if you would say you have a home, you got a pool, you got a driveway, you got an AC, right? You don't quite make enough money to cover everything. And, you know, you got a pool pump that has gone bad and your pool's turning green. You got a busted up driveway, it's getting trouble. Every time you drive your car on it, it busts up more. So we got a skate park that has been in disrepair for a long time. This money is like an infusion of money to fix all of the little things that go on in your own budget, similar to your home, that we really don't tax for. We struggle trying to spread out as much money as we can to provide the residents with what they want. We get ourselves in, like the gentleman, a great example would be that volleyball court. He's gonna help us with it, right? Or that dock. Someone used private money to set it up. They're supposed to take care of it, but they didn't. Well, we're stuck with it. Someone wants us to spend $500,000 or more trying to rebuild the dock that was originally built by private money, but now the expectation is to provide it for the residents. So where I'm going at with this is, we have a lot of those kind of little things that we've created in our budget that we don't have money for, and this ARPA money came in. And if you look at these monies that we're spending, you know, 100,000, 200,000, 250,000, 300,000. When we get into stormwater, we have an entire stormwater fund. We spend $14 million in Islesboro. We've done Central Beach. We're gonna do anyway, the neighborhood out west to the south of 44.
Corbin Park?
Thank you. The stormwater issue, which was clearly shown by this horrific 1,000-year flood event, shows how susceptible New Smyrna is to flooding. Most of New Smyrna is really low. We talk about flooding, everyone thinks it's coastal. Not in New Smyrna. A lot of the coastal properties are higher than most of the inland properties. We're talking about hundreds and thousands of acres of homes that have been built since the 1940s on elevations that, you know, you're talking about 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot. And I think, Commissioner, you know that more than anybody. You are a walking, shining example in your neighborhood. You're sitting at about 4, 5, 5.5 feet.
I believe it's 5.8.
Above the base flood elevation, above mean high tide and your topos. And your neighborhood, along with all the neighborhoods out west and all the different elevations that have flooded.
But also understand that the stormwater system floods us.
Yes. Well, but the point is, this is a relatively minor drop in the bucket compared to what it would take to deal with the stormwater. And the stormwater dealing with it it's just not a money issue. It's much more elaborate and complex than just, hey, we're going to take $50 million and throw it at stormwater. So I'm not in favor of changing this. I understand the flood issues we're going to be dealing with for decades. And I am not going to get into all the details on where we're at with state and federal requirements of what we're supposed to do that will put most of these people out of their homes. But it gets very complicated. So it's not just an easy, let's take, $500,000 here or $1.5 million there and throw it to the flooding problem we have. So I support going forward with this. As Randy said, listen, this is a compromise. But there's really nothing in here I want to take away. But I think that's up to the new commission. Y'all feel free to, throw out what you want if there's anything you want to, change or get rid of. But knowing that I don't want to confuse relatively small amounts of money for trying to solve an enormously huge problem that is so complex that even if I had $50 million to hand you right now, you're not going to just be able to throw it down and fix everything. So.
Thank you very much, Commissioner McGurk. Commissioner Perrine, anything from you? We've had everybody else. Okay, very good. I would just add, when we went to the congressional delegation from the state, we asked for a bucket, $5 million for Corbin Park, $3 million for Historic West Side, $2.5 million for the Cemetery Canal Bank, $2.5 million from Tremble Creek South, $1.5 million for Tremble Creek North, Pine Island, and Aqua Golf, nearly $2 million. So the amount of money we'd need to make a difference and the time that, as Khalid points out, to execute, we run the risk of losing the small amount. Don't want to do that. And we need a bucket, a big bucket, and we're going after that with all we got. So that's part of my report at the end. I just want to make sure that you don't feel like it's not being tended to.
Well, actually, one of the things that I was looking for was not trying to take everything on, but to provide the assistance that we need to get actually documentation of the evolution of our stormwater system. We don't have a clear image of what we've got in the ground. And that is not the zillion-dollar project. It is simply giving our engineering staff the tools they need to understand what's there so that we can use that in combination with the Jones-Edmonds watershed study and set the groundwork for going forward. I don't have a cost on what that engineering, what it would cost from the engineering perspective to do that just documentation, just get the data.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much, Commissioner Martin. Anything else there, City Manager?
Mayor, if I just do have $700,000 on this list to update the stormwater master plan, and that exactly to address the issue you just point out.
Okay, so documentation of what we've got is included in the master plan.
That's what this $700,000 is to update the stormwater master plan, and that will take care of what we talked about this morning in terms of this inlet, where it's going, the size of pipe, and other issues that we might have.
Okay.
So that's on this list. It's item C. If you look, Kelly, could you put the second list that you have, if you would, please? Right there. So under the, it has A, B, and C. C is update stormwater master plan, and you have $700,000 to address that issue. So.
Thank you so much. Okay, I think that's a very robust discussion, and if we want to take it up at a workshop or do some more to change what previous commissions have done, I don't favor that, but if their motion comes along sometime, be happy to entertain that. I'd like to move along to item 7E, the add-on we took out of the consent agenda, which is the upward trend Foundation Gala. And Khalid, would you set the table
Yes.
here so that
Yes.
Director
Yes.
from Leisure Services, Rob Salazar, can
Yes,
give
Mayor.
us the info?
At the last meeting, we talked about, I think we had two requests in order to waive the fee for the use of the Brannan Center for non-for-profit. And at the time, our Leisure Services Director and staff, they were looking at revising and updating our rates, and come back to the commission with options on January the 24th. When this request was submitted, their event is the second day after after our meeting on the 24th, so they want not have enough time to plan for the event. So what I did ask Rob is just to kind of go over quickly of what he's looking at in terms of the options. I have asked him to look at the projections to make sure that we have, for every options we have projections to go along with it. Because if you recall, when we had the Brannan Center built, the idea was to make it self-sufficient. So I want to make sure whatever option we use, I want to be able to show you in terms of the projections, does it meet the self-sufficient issue, or it doesn't, and how much is it short? So this way you could have information available before you in order to make a good decision on what rates and what fees should we use for the Brannan Center. So let me have Rob go over this quickly. This is not complete. This is in progress, but I just want to make sure that you're aware of it, that we are doing it. Will be presented on the 24th.
Okay. Thank you, Khalid, and thank you, Commission and Mayor. In regards to what Khalid said, I'll start here. On the current slide, if you guys have this in front of you, the projections for what Khalid asked, like he said, have not been quite completed yet, but the analysis for past fiscal years, I have the figures in the operating budget for what the Brannan Center was allocated for and what the total revenue generated for the building were. So you can at least see where we have been in relation to breaking even, as he noted. I will say in fiscal 22, the total revenue generated was about $232,000 from the center, with a total operating budget of $479,000. So breaking that operating budget down a little bit, taking out employee cost at the center was $227,000 total. So a total operating budget excluding employees was about $251,000, and the total revenue generated was about $232,000. So just in relation to where you can see we're not close to break even, but if you look at it more in the operations budget rather than the total budget including the employees, we're more comparable. So I'm just sharing that for what it's worth. The next slide I have, these are the current rates that the center is promoting. These rates are the COVID promotional rates. We're still in effect, and hopefully at next commission meeting on the 24th, we can dive a little deeper into the options and you guys can provide some direction. So this is where we are currently. And this table shows just two of the proposals that I've worked with staff on developing. We have not made a third proposal yet. We're open to feedback, obviously, but this is what we've put into place and what Khalid has asked me to project, and I'm working on developing those figures with staff currently. So for the rental for the gala for Upward Trend, the recommendation that they had requested a fee waiver, and if you guys recall previously, we had Community Strong come in and request 2 fee waivers at a previous meeting, and what we had done, and we had instituted the waiver, but to reduce the fee to cover employee costs. And that's what I put in my staff report for my recommendation for the Upward Trend Gala as well, just to be consistent with what we had done previously. And that was $400 for what Community Strong paid for their 2 events. So that was my recommendation, just for the sake of consistency for the Upward Trend Gala. You guys have any questions that I can delve into further?
Any questions from any of the commissioners? Vice Mayor?
So the previous waiver was $400 for employee costs, but it was a 2-day event,
No, sir, there's 2 separate events.
2 separate events.
Yes, sir. One was in February and one was, I believe, in July or June.
So it's $400 per event?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is there another commissioner with a question or a comment? I would encourage, Rob, that the phenomena is if it's free to me, I want more. And so, or if it's highly discounted, I want more. I would encourage you to do your analysis to come back with what it is we want to make the Brandon Center in perpetuity. If it is the cheapest hall in town, it will be every not-for-profit center's choice. To the extent that our protocol is that if you book it and you're not-for-profit, if somebody comes in with $100,000 and wants to have it, we're not bumping anybody. That's probably righteous to do it that way. You may want to consider certain evenings that are low booking today, that no commercial activities have shown an interest, and allow that, similar to what we've done at the Coronado Community Center, where it's available for cost on certain nights, and restrict the availability to certain nonprofit nights.
Yes, sir.
Something like that. Something along those lines would be, I think would be, just my 2 cents on that. Anybody else?
I like that, because that's a good idea. I mean, I assume we don't probably rent it on a lot of weeknights. People want everything on weekends.
Why not, if you guys will humor me, some of the guidelines and recommendations I included in the, this is draft, just keep that in mind, include new fee waivers or discounted rentals are only permitted on Monday through Thursday rentals, which would exclude our high volume and most popular weekends, which right now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday are charged at a higher rate than Monday through Thursday. So if somebody was to request a fee rental or a fee waiver or reduction in cost, we could potentially honor that, but in a Monday through Thursday basis. So we're still leaving the big ticket days of Friday to Sunday more readily available for revenue.
Thank you. Commissioner Martin, have you got a comment?
Well, I was just going to ask, I noticed that Rob had put quite a lot of good information in including some options for the nonprofits, and nonprofits Monday through Thursday, for me, option 3, and the 1 per year makes a lot of sense.
Thank you. Any other commissioner with a comment?
I'd like to see a vacancy rate too, if you could, like the seasons that you don't have these filled, and what we can do to get those filled.
Absolutely. Okay.
That's really good. I like that. And then, Rob, while you're going through on getting all this direction, I'm an advocate of half price for not-for-profits, not at cost, half price.
Okay.
And that will be a voted on type of item, but just wanted to voice my position on that. Anyway, this is not for vote. This is, there is a vote here.
There's a vote for the
the
gala.
proposal is, your recommendation is that we do it at the same, which was at cost. And so, is there a motion on this item?
And that's just for this one.
Just for this one, exactly right. In order not to set a precedent. And for the record, we are, and so for all that are watching and viewing and what have you, we're going to have a different plan going forward.
I have one more question.
Yes, Val.
What's the plan when we can break even on this to where?
Say that one more time for me.
360? Yeah. Do you have a time frame of when you can get this where we?
On the 24th,
This is coming on the 24th, yes, ma'am.
24.
which is the next
And
meeting.
that's you're gonna come up with the difference of the 109 in that plan with the numbers, the new numbers that you have? Is that what I'm understanding?
The difference of the 109, are you referring?
On the total operations budget and the grand total, the difference between?
To make it break even.
Oh, I can give a projection for break even.
Perfect.
Sure, what the figures will be, yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I will make a motion to approve the, Rob's suggestion for the grant for upward trend.
Thank you. And there's a second. Any more discussion? Kelly, call the roll.
So
There is more discussion.
there is more discussion.
Okay.
So that's the fee waiver, but the $400 for employee costs. So that's the total cost will be the $400.
Sir.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
City Clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes?
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Rob, appreciate that. Okay, we're on to ordinances and second readings and a public hearing. So this is a public hearing. Let's have the city attorney read this for discussion and we'll open the hearing.
Ordinance number 7422, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach adopting a temporary moratorium on the consideration of any applications for rezonings, major amendments to a master development agreement, site plan approvals, plat approvals, or variances for contiguous property 10 acres in size or larger proposed for residential development located in FEMA flood zones A or AE in the City of New Smyrna Beach for a period ending no later than June 27, 2023, unless rescinded or extended by a subsequent ordinance or by subsequent amendment to the city's land development regulations or code of ordinances regarding the regulation or design of stormwater or floodplain management, providing procedures for vested rights review for the specific matters addressed herein, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Thank you very much. City Manager, your comments, sir.
Yes, sir. And I'll try to be brief, but as specific as possible. We all recall in September 28th of last year, 2022, when we had 20 inches of rainfall in less than 24 hours, as well as 4-foot surge along the Indian River, the Turnbull Creek, and also the Turnbull Bay. And as a result, we had at the time, we had 850 homes that flooded. And it ranges from 4 inches to 4 foot on these homes. They have lost everything. So as a result of that, we decided that we will have an expert, and the experts will look at the entire city in terms of the watershed. And we were interested to know how it happened, why it happened, and also what needs to be done in order to prevent it from happening again. So that's the main goal of the study, and also hopefully we'll have some recommendations. But I could tell you this, and I think I shared with you the map from the DEP, where you see that when you have surge, any low properties that is adjacent to these water bodies, it doesn't matter what system do you have, you will be flooded. And I shared with you the pictures from 1924 in this area in particular, where they had 23 inches in a short time, and the water was there for months. And so I want to remind that the mayor and I went over to Islesboro on Thursday, where we actually I couldn't go on Thursday. I couldn't go on those streets because of the water level. That was at 3:30 on Thursday, just right after the hurricane. On Friday morning at 9:30, the streets was clear throughout the Islesboro area. The water did not stay. That's an indication that the system is working. However, that does not mean that we don't have to do anything. That's why the study is there. So the idea of the moratorium, a lot of questions are asking, why are we using 10 acres? The 10 acres, how we came up with it is, we kind of using an average of 0.25 acre for a lot. So 10 acres, if you divide that by 2.25, that gives you 40 lots. But when you develop a subdivision, obviously you have to use some of it for the right-of-way and some of it for the retention area. So you take about 15 lots, that lifts with 25. But that's how we came up with the 10 acres. So any subdivision that has 25 lots on it, that will be under this moratorium. The moratorium will end in June 27th of 2023. The idea is that you'll have the expert, the kickoff meeting is on the 18th. Immediately he will jump in, we'll have the kickoff with the staff and move in to do his study, come back with the reports and have a public meeting with the commission with, as we indicated, why and how and what could we do to prevent it, with recommendations, and then staff will come back to you with an action plan of what needs to be done if the recommendations are to do so. The moratorium is specifically for areas within the flood zone A and flood zone AE. So it's not for the entire city, it's only for flood zones. Right now, that I'm aware of, I don't think we have anything that it's 10 acres or more in the pipeline. Now, just keep in mind, all developments that are developed in the city of New Smyrna Beach, they go through two processes. They go through the process of the city in terms of the permitting, and then they go through John's requirements. It's almost typical. They might be a little bit stricter, but they have to meet the stricter requirement of both. So, and I have mentioned previously, if they have in the preconditions, they are discharging 1 cup when they develop, so for the post-development, they cannot exceed that 1 cup in terms of the discharge. So if you look at during the flooding, a lot of the areas there that it was developed according to the new requirement, which is the 100-year storm, our stormwater master plan allows the water to be in the streets 6 inches or a little bit higher. As long as the homes are not flooded, that's the most important thing that we worry about. But when you have 21 inches coupled with a 4-foot surge, it's very difficult. So Commissioner Martin have seen, she was talking about several times about the water coming out of the inlets. That's why. Because what happened is we have the check valves at the pipe discharging into the river, because when the river rises, that valve was shut. So therefore, any water that was in the system, it's going to be accumulated, and then eventually it's going to pop out of the inlets. Now, those low properties in New Smyrna Beach that they were at that time when we had the hurricane in 2017, I think it was determined that the water level in the river was 6.6. So if your house is less than 6.6, guess what? You will be flooded. So if the flood elevation says it's 7 and your elevation 6.5, I don't know what else to do. You either have to elevate the house or you have to demo and rebuild. The yard will be flooded, but the house will not be flooded. But the indication is, you go back after the hurricane, do you see the water there for months? You don't see it. But in 1924, that water was there for months because they did not have a system. Obviously, the expert will come back and say, hey, this is what you needed to do, and we'll take the action, present it to the commission, and move forward with that. Nobody wants to do stormwater than the city staff. We would like to get these projects done. We would like to take care of the residents and take care of them once for all, so they don't have the repetitive loss that you see all the time. Because the repetitive loss, it hurts the city as well, because it does hurt that we have the community service system that we are in. We're class 5 at this point, we're classified. That means you get 25% reduction on your flood insurance premium. The reason for that is because of what the city has been doing to address those issues for the repetitive loss and taking care of it. So having the repetitive loss on the list, it does hurt the city. So we want to take it off. We want to help these people. Thank you, Mayor, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Rashadat. Your experience, training, and passion are evident. We will open the public participation part of the public hearing here. Is there anyone in the room that would like to address the commission on this topic?
I thought there might be a longer line. Good evening. I'd like to say just three things. One, I am in favor of the moratorium, and I liken it to punctuation that we use in our grammar. It's there to improve meaning, and a pause or a comma is very important, and if left out, it's oftentimes we lose the meaning. And I think this is a pause, an opportunity that our city can take, a rare opportunity, to make sure that what we do have in place is good and what we need to do is clear as well. So I really believe this is an excellent move, even though not a perfect one, because we already have some things in the pipeline that won't be affected by this. The second thing, and I may be part of this review with the consultants, right before this meeting, the League of Women Voters was having a meeting in the library on sustainability and vulnerability. It was an excellent meeting, and they addressed what the county is doing and what the East Central Regional Planning Body is doing. They're doing something on vulnerability, and the county is doing on sustainability. I don't know how we'll click into that, but they're putting quite a bit of money and time, and there are many grants that are coming through that they talked about. So I think that would be important as part of this time period, if we can make sure that what other groups are doing, that we don't necessarily replicate what they've done, we can use their resources as well. So I just thought that was encouraging. But one of the things they stressed was how important it was that, and as we well know, some of the areas of our city are county. So, I mean, if we're not looking at each other in this vulnerability and sustainability, we're missing out on opportunities. So I hope that occurs. And the last thing is, I'm concerned about the interchange on 95 and Pioneer. As you probably know, it's proposed, but there has been no environmental impact assessment. And I really think that should be part of our moratorium, is to ask with the county that an environmental impact study be done, because that is a flood zone, and that is vital to the Doris Sleeper Reserve and the flow in that area. So I think it would be truly a travesty if that project is allowed to go forward without an environmental assessment. So I wish you well, and I do encourage us to go forward with the moratorium.
Thank you, Dr. Herman. Appreciate your comments.
Mayor, if I
Yes.
may just regarding Mr. Herman.
You're privileged, sir.
We did apply for the grant, and we received the grant on the sustainability and vulnerability. So in terms of this grant, the exposure study that we are doing, there is I think there is 13 criteria or 14 criteria in this sustainability study. What we are doing is part of it as well. So we will be doing both. So
Very good.
we did apply for the grant and we received it.
Copy that, Dr. Herman. Okay, very good.
Good evening. Yes. 708 South Cooper Street. You know I am already. Let's see. Someone told me long ago, this is calm before the storm. I know, it's been calm for a while. The storm is called moratorium, as we sit here tonight and discuss this. And I did some research on this. In our charter, in Part 2, Code of Ordinance, Chapter 2.6, Building and Regulations, Article 8, Floodplain Management Division 1, Section 26-665, there's a warning. It says, The degree of flood protection required by this article and the Florida Building Code, as amended by this community, is considered the minimum reasonable for regulatory purposes and is based on scientific and engineering considerations. Large floods can and will occur. Flood heights may be increased by man-made or natural causes. This article does not imply that the land outside of mapped special flood areas, hazard areas, or that uses permitted with such flood hazard areas will be free from flooding or flood damage. And that's in our code. Another one that I looked up was the land development regulation on Part 3, Article 5, Section 504, R2A, the code R2A for single-family homes, detached or attached, says the following. Dimension requirements, minimum acres, 5 acres, equals to 8 dwellings per gross acres. 8 dwellings per acre, that means in 5 acres, you can put in 40 homes. So you can put in 80 homes in 10 acres. That's a lot of homes to put in. Now, those homes, if not, they're in pipeline now, but that's something we need to look at. Also, there's 1,500 homes, or somebody said before, that are in the pipeline to be built soon, what we believe. Are these homes going to be subject to the new rules if, when this study is found to be that we need to do X, Y, and Z, will these homes be subject to those new regulations in there, and how that impact the builders? Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Anybody else, anyone else in the room for public participation?
Joe Dluback again, 3587 Casalta Circle. I'm encouraged by Commissioner Martin's data-driven requirement to do solutions. I'm a little anxious about conducting the study, finding out and developing recommendations that work, and then ultimately implementing ordinances within 5 months is very incredibly ambitious. Also, we keep talking about 100-year storms, and you can throw that out because 100-year storms are going to occur every 5 years. We know that. This proposal is to address very specific areas within the city, very specific sizes, and the question is, we need to have a bigger strategy to address those units that are beyond those constraints. What are we going to do about the single-family homes? What are we going to do about other areas of the city that may not have 5 feet of water in their garages or their living rooms? But what are we going to do about those? And I would hope that the city develops a long-term strategy to address everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, sir. Is there anyone else for public participation? Public participation is now closed. Is there discussion amongst the commission on this topic?
I'll start. I love the idea of a moratorium, but I am concerned that the proposed ordinance is insufficient to really assist in the stormwater analysis and management throughout the city. Our esteemed city attorney has recommended that we put a pause on the ordinance until the scope of the issue has been clearly defined. So I would make a motion to start the moratorium after the Jones-Edmonds study has been completed.
Okay, so we've gone from a discussion. There is a motion on the floor now, and repeat it one more time for clarity. I didn't expect that right then, so let's get it on the table clearly.
Okay, well.
Just state your motion, please, ma'am.
Okay. I make a motion to start the moratorium after the Jones-Edmonds study has been completed.
Is there a second? The motion dies for lack of a second. We will continue the discussion on the topic that is before us, which is the proposed ordinance 7422. Is there any other discussion from any other commissioner on that topic? Vice Mayor.
As a point of information, in your agenda packet, it referenced ordinance number 35-22. 35-22 has not been adopted by this board to date. So where it's referenced in your packet, it has not been an adopted resolution, so an ordinance. So just so that you're aware of that, if you're relying on that to base your decision.
Any other discussion from any other commissioner? Is there a motion to adopt ordinance 7422?
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 7422.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is there more discussion? Madam City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Preen?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Okay, that is the only public hearing and second reading that we have this evening. We'll now proceed to ordinances of the first reading. The city attorney will read the following ordinances first by title, time and title only. The second reading will occur at a quasi-judicial public hearing be conducted on Tuesday, 24th January. So this is just the time and the title, please. City attorney, all yours.
Ordinance number 7622, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach rezoning approximately 7 plus or minus acres of property generally located between US Highway 1, South Dixie Freeway, and the Florida East Coast FEC Railroad tracks from Light Industrial I-1 to Plan Unit Development PUD zoning district, approving the Blue Dolphin Boat and RV Storage Plan Unit Development Master Development Agreement, and authorizing the mayor to execute the Master Development Agreement on behalf of the city, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing effective date. The applicant is here in the audience if anyone has questions they want to raise. Otherwise, the second reading and public hearing will be January 24th, as the mayor stated.
Seeing no questions, we'll take those up at the on the 24th. Carrie.
Okay. Ordinance number 7722, conduct the first reading of an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the code and ordinances, amending Chapter 2, Article 2, City Commission to codify existing City Commission benefits in its Section 2-31, providing for codification, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be January 24th, 2023. Ordinance number 0123. An ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the City of New Smyrna Beach Police Officers Retirement Plan, amending Section 4.04 amount of benefit at retirement to provide for a cost of living adjustment, amending Section 4.07 supplemental benefit component for special benefits, Chapter 185 share accounts to provide for sharing excess monies above $200,000, providing for public hearing, providing for severability, providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be January 24th, 2023. Ordinance number 223. An ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach vacating a platted unopened right-of-way east of South Myrtle Avenue and south of West 7th Street, accepting the dedication of an alternative right-of-way, providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be January 24th, 2023. Commissioner Martin, did you want to wait for second reading for your comments?
Yeah, my comment on that is, okay, I can go with that. The Myrtle Street vacation, as I say, that will clearly facilitate development of a project along Myrtle and in an environmentally sensitive area. And it's unclear to me how this vacation is in the interest of the public good. I don't see the listing of the neighbors, the abutting properties that supposedly agreed to this. So I think I need a lot more clarification.
Yes, Ms. Martin. So to go over some of the points that you had, the trade-off for the 50-foot right-of-way, which is a dead end to the retention pond for the county, the applicant or the property owner that was adjacent to each side came to us, asked if we would be willing to vacate that. And in turn, he would give us 15 foot of right-of-way along Myrtle Avenue, which we desperately need, so that way we could have utility access if we want to use it for sidewalks or if we need it for any type of decel lane or expansion of the right-of-way. So Staff
Or
supported
egress-
that.
Or egress through that 7th Street parcel. Isn't that just also egress through that parcel? In the future?
No, there
if
is
there's-
egress 7th Avenue. We're not vacating 7th Avenue.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah, we're vacating a portion of the platted Myrtle Avenue that was never
I
opened up.
understand, yeah, uh-huh.
And so notices have gone out. We didn't have a list of them as part of our agenda pack. We normally do not supply that list, but we can definitely start supplying that in the future if you prefer.
That would be nice, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mason. City Attorney, continue.
Okay, ordinance number 323, an ordinance annexing into the city of New Smyrna Beach 2 plus or minus acres of property located on the east side of Oliver Drive, south of Lydia Way, addressed as 645 Oliver Drive, providing for redefining boundaries of the city, designating the property within Commission Zone 4, providing for public hearing, providing for required filings, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be January 24th, 2023. Ordinance number 423, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach, amending the comprehensive plan, changing the future land use designation of 2 plus or minus acres of land located east of Oliver Drive, south of Lydia Way, addressed as 645 Oliver Drive, from Volusia County urban low intensity to county low density residential, providing for amendment of the associated comprehensive plan maps to show the area incorporated into the city, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be January 24th, 2023. Ordinance number 0523, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach, rezoning 2 plus or minus acres of property located east of Oliver Drive, south of Lydia Way, addressed as 645 Oliver Drive, from Volusia County R1A, urban single-family residential airport overlay, to City R1 COA, urban single-family residential airport overlay zoning district, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be January 24th, 2023. Ordinance number 0623, an ordinance annexing into the City of New Smyrna Beach 3.4 plus or minus acres of property located on the north side of Pioneer Trail, east of Brent Haven Lane, addressed as 2655 Pioneer Trail, providing for redefining boundaries of the city, designating the property within Commission Zone 3, providing for public hearing, providing for required filings, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be January 24th, 2023. Ordinance number 0723, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach, amending the comprehensive plan, changing the future land use designation of 3.4 plus or minus acres of land located north of Pioneer Trail, east of Brent Haven Lane, addressed as 2655 Pioneer Trail, from Volusia County urban low intensity to city low density residential, providing for amendment of the associated comprehensive plan maps to show the area incorporated into the city, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be January 24th, 2023. Ordinance number 0823. An ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach rezoning 3.4 plus or minus acres of property located north of Pioneer Trail, east of Brent Haven Lane, addressed as 2655 Pioneer Trail, from Volusia County A3A Transitional Agricultural Airport Overlay to City A3A Transitional Agricultural Airport Overlay Zoning District, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be January 24th, 2023. Ordinance number 0923, an ordinance of the City of New Smyrna Beach amending the land development regulations, amending Article 8 supplementary regulations, Section 80303, regulations pertaining to fences, walls, and hedges, to allow 6-foot-tall fences within secondary front yard setbacks for corner lots, providing for codification, providing for public hearing, providing for conflicting ordinances, providing for severability, and providing an effective date. Second reading and public hearing will be January 24th, 2023.
Reminding that we will get a robust second bite at the apple on the 24th. Is there any commissioner who would like to speak to any of these readings? Thank you very much. We'll move on to boards and commissions. Item 10A, the Building Trades Examining Board, considering the reappointment of 2 members to serve 3-year terms expiring on January 1st, 2026. City Clerk, do you have a report?
Yes, I do. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. We have, currently there are 2 terms that expired on January 1st, 2023. Member Cowherd has served 7 terms, and Member Here has served 5 terms. Mr. Cowherd serves in the capacity of the electrical contractor, and Mr. Here serves in the capacity of the building service representative. up on your screens, it describes the duties, powers, and responsibilities of these boards. It's very difficult to find applicants to fill these positions, especially these specific criteria required. I've reached out to both members, and they are interested and willing to serve an additional term. And so I just wanted to let you know that we have not received any new applications for this board, and we recommend the reappointment of both current members waiving the 2-year term because of their expertise in their fields.
Understand that, and I think it's time to have the opportunity to reach out to others that are in the trade business, and maybe that's something each of us as commissioners can take up and also spread the word. These wonderful folks have served long and are willing to do it one more time. So I understand here that we need a motion to to waive the 2-year term limit. Is there a motion? I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion by the commission? Kelly, call the roll, please.
To clarify, is this a motion just to waive the term or to reappoint and waive the term?
Clarification on the motion. Would you like
It was to waive the term,
waive the term?
but I can go ahead and, let's just do it this way. Waive the term.
Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can I entertain a motion to reappoint William Coward and Paul here?
So move.
We have a motion to reappoint these gentlemen. Is there a second?
Second.
City Clerk, please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Hartman?
Yes.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Perine?
Yes.
Commissioner McGurk?
Yes.
Mayor Cleveland?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, Member Coward and Member here. The City Clerk's office will be sending out an official notice of your appointment very soon. Thank you for your willingness to continue to serve. Item 10B is the Planning and Zoning Board. Consider the appointment of one citizen to serve an unexpired 3-year term expiring on October 31st, 2024. City Clerk, do you have a report?
Yes, we have one vacancy. It was caused by a member, Susan Nayland, who submitted her resignation in November 2022. This vacancy created would be able to fill the unexpired term that ends on October 31st, 2024. There were 24 applicants, and so they have been included, their applications have been included on that list. I brought ballots just in case there were nominations.
Very good. Thank you for that report. Are there nominations from any commissioner?
I'd like to nominate John Frankhauser for the board.
One nomination. Are there any others?
I do. I'd like to nominate David McKenna.
Great. We have 2 nominations.
And I'd like to nominate Thomas Bean.
Yep.
Bean.
Thomas
Yeah.
Bean.
Yes.
Sure. And we have 3 nominations. Are there others? Okay, the nominations being closed. City Clerk, please read the ballot. While the city clerk is doing the tabulation, I'd like to extend to Dr. Nealon, Susan Nealon, our thanks for her service. All honor, glory, and praise for your work on the P&Z. Dr. Nealon, we are grateful for your service.
All right, the ballot tally indicated that there were 2 votes for John Frankhauser, 2 votes for Thomas Bean, 1 vote for David McKenna. So Thomas Bean and John Frankhauser would be the people that you would select on this next ballot to try
Great.
to break
So
the tie.
please distribute the ballots.
All right. By 4-1 majority vote, the John Frankhauser received 4 votes, and Thomas Bean received 1.
Very good. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Mr. Funkhauser, and your willingness to step forward. The city clerk's office will be sending an official notice of your appointment very soon. Thank you again for your willingness to serve our city. It's now time for the commission reports. I'd like to give the opportunity for Vice Mayor to off with a report.
Thank you. So I think many of you received the same email I did. There's a move about, it's certainly in Volusia County, to where we take our impact fees and hold them, or we defer them until at such a time as there's a certificate of occupancy granted for low income or disadvantaged housing, affordable housing. I would like, if I could get consensus from the rest of you, to have staff look into that and see what we could do going forward. The idea behind it is some of these builders who are trying to do these affordable housing, you know, they're paying all these costs up front, so it's impacting their bottom dollar, where it'd be easier for them that once they completed their certificate of occupancy, they usually have, by that time, have a buyer ready, you know, with Habitat or whomever. And so it would be defer that cost just until. I'm not talking about waiving costs, but just so that we can defer them to some point in the future, usually when they do the thing. In the interest of time, Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you so much. Without objection. Okay, without objection, Colin, take that one for action.
Mayor, if I may, just to
Yes,
be
sir.
clear, you're asking to delay the impact fees until the issuing of the CO? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Any for affordable housing only. And we can have that discussion about what that definition will be. Because I know a lot of people use different things, but I know the county has a fairly good definition for affordable housing or attainable housing. So
The initiative is to have the discussion, Colin, and raise it by your staff to the commission.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for your brevity, Vice Mayor. Commissioner McGurk.
Okay, so the Pioneer Trail interchange has been brought up. And so I think I'm going to use this time to give you some history on it if you would like to hear it. So I first want to tell you that my history with the TPO started back in 2004 when I was put on the Citizens Advisory Committee by then County Council member Jack Heyman. I was on the Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee and the Citizens Advisory Committee, which I ended up chairing both. During my time on those boards, the Pioneer Trail interchange came up. So bear with me. I'm going to try to abbreviate as much history as I can, as quickly as I can, because I think we're going to be talking about it more in the future. But there's important aspects of it I want you to know. The Pioneer Trail interchange has always been discussed as part of this community. It goes.
Please silence that phone.
So it goes back 40, 50 years of discussion. It's nothing new. Now, around 2000 and I'm going to say 2006, 7, Maureen Husseini is planning to build Woodhaven. They've already built a number of, he's already built a number of large-scale developments to the north of Airport Road. And he was planning Woodhaven, which is what the Williams extension now is. That development goes through Woodhaven. So during those 2000s, early mid-2000s, Port Orange had permitted thousands of homes in their city. New Smyrna was doing the same primarily with Venetian Bank. So at about 2006, 2007, the economy started to tank. The Pioneer Trail interchange was controversial only to New Smyrna. New Smyrna had a group of people who went to and wanted to oppose it. Maury saw what was happening with the economy, and the key with the TPO is this. There's a program called the Long Range Transportation Plan. If something is going to be funded, it needs to be on the LRTP, Long Range Transportation Plan. So the key was to have it taken off the Long Range Transportation Plan by advocates in New Smyrna. Through some very challenging meetings, all of a sudden, that request was accepted. The Pioneer Trail interchange was removed around 2007 from the Long Range Transportation Plan. The people in New Smyrna thought, you know, hey, we championed it, we got it shut down. I got elected in 2012. Not too long after I was elected, I don't know, 6 months, 3 months, something like that, I get a call from somebody and says, hey, what in the world is the county in Port Orange doing, sending a resolution to the TPO, which back then was called the MPO, to request that the long-range transportation, that the Pioneer Trail interchange be put back on the long-range transportation plan. And I said, of course, number one is, I don't know. But the most important question was, why the heck didn't we, the city of New Smyrna, know about it? So the reason we didn't know about it was, and is because, to get it on the long-range transportation plan, the TPO is made up of the county and all 16 cities. There's a few cities that are too small to have a vote. New Smyrna, it's a weighted vote based on the population of your city. New Smyrna's vote, weighted vote, represents only 4.2% of the vote. So the simple answer was the reason the New Smyrna electeds and the New Smyrna staff was not brought into or notified that the county in Port Orange was going to put the long-range request that the interchange go back on the long-range transportation plan is because we didn't want it. And we didn't want it under any circumstance. That was clear. Under no circumstance did the residents and the people who were very proactive at wanting to get it shut down want the interchange. So with my understanding of what was going on is, what we were essentially told was, you're out of it. We don't care what you have to say. And I said, wow, guys, that is a really bad position for us to be in. We do not have a seat at the table. And we don't have a seat at the table because we have taken the position we, under no circumstances, will support the Pioneer Trail interchange. At that time, or during that time, the commission changed its opinion and went ahead and said, we as a body do not support the Pioneer Trail interchange. So the county in the Port Orange was like, that's fine. We don't need you. You don't need to be at the table. We don't care. And we weren't involved. Now, here's the kicker on this. So this was a really bad position for us to be in, and I advocated and said, we need to have a seat at the table. We need to be part of the planning of this interchange. So I got the commission to accept the fact we don't have to like the interchange. We don't have to want the interchange. But we have to be willing to negotiate at the table and be part of the discussion, at which time the commission agreed and said, okay, we'll support the interchange. But regardless of what I've just said, here's the single most important thing that I want to get across. When I say we, this city, throughout the 2000s, along with Port Orange, permitted thousands of homes out west. you have to have an explanation as to how you're going to deal with that growth in transportation. The Pioneer Trail interchange was in our transportation element and explaining how we're going to deal with the traffic when it comes. So essentially what New Smyrna did was we permitted all these thousands of homes, and then once they were permitted, there was a relatively small group of people who said, we don't want the interchange. Which would mean what? It would mean that we would not have, and we're not supporting the traffic infrastructure needed to support the thousands of homes that we have permitted out there, which is exactly what nobody should ever want. So that is a brief history of the Pioneer Trail interchange. The city used it as part of their transportation element and justifying the permitting of thousands of homes out west, which is now Venetian Bay, the promenade, and all those things out there. So those are the simple, easy facts that I can provide to you. And feel free to let the discussion begin. We want it, we don't want it, but I gotta tell you right now, it's coming. We don't have the power, we don't have the votes, we don't have the weighted vote. The county represents almost 50% of the vote at the TPO. You only need one city, and the county and Port Orange is not gonna give it up. So the interchange, more than likely, I mean, it's coming. And how if people want to take up a fight to say we shouldn't have it, that's up to whoever wants to do that. But I think the most important thing we would need to address is, why are we trying to deny the road system we will need for the homes we have already permitted, and now, almost 20 years later, we're seeing them being built out. So I'll be more than happy to answer any questions as best I can on it. That is a 15-year history in a very quick, abbreviated version.
Yeah, I think that's a great discussion item. And I'd like to have a robust discussion about that. History lesson is really, really good, Jason, so thank you for that, because the citizenry, we're being asked, how do you feel? And if I play that back, the sins of the past are, we included that in that as part of our transportation plan in our permitting. That was part of the strategy. Yes. And yet, so that's a process foul of a previous day. And now that we have that built, those buildings have been built, people are living there, we have a population with no exit plan, and that's the sin.
That's one of the sins, yes.
Okay. All right. So, we should have a robust discussion. This is your report. Is there anything else in your report?
That's it.
So
Vice Mayor.
Just to expound on that on the 25th, the TPO is having a public workshop on an amendment to the Pioneer Trail Interchange project. But the amendment deals only with speeding up the financing portion of the project. So, it's coming faster than, where everybody kind of assumes, yeah, it'll happen in 2 or 3 years. I don't know if you've been up there recently, but along 95, they put up construction zone signs along where Pioneer Trail passes over 95, so.
From your experience, either of you, would it be worth our time, Colin, you chime in on this, to get to make a plea at the county? Is maybe you've done that before? Is that worth it?
The plea for what, though?
Well, you want a seat, but our weighted vote doesn't sound like it's an overwhelming vote. But if enough of the citizenry goes to the county and says, "Hey, we are always in the county by virtue the county is everywhere. We are part of the county. This part of the county would like to express their opinion." Not sure what that is.
Yeah.
I think I know.
Well, the residents can always express their opinion. I think what you're saying is, does the commission want to take a different position once again. And then go to the city and say whether we support it or don't support it. So I think that would be the first step before we decide anything. And I can tell you that most of the people that I spoke, most of the people that were involved in it back then who were opposed to it actually have, over the years have come to conclude that for one reason or another, it's best to support it. Now, we can go ahead and take a vote. And if this body decided we don't support it, we can go talk to the county. But I would tell you that in my experience that, that is so, the interchange is so far past anything. But that's certainly up for discussion.
It's a complex topic. I'll give you a second here. It's a complex topic, and the citizenry, and until just now, Jason, I didn't get it. And so between you and Randy's explanation, it's a lot more light shed on this, which is wonderful. But other than those that are listening by tape, there's very few people in the room. I think the citizens needs an education on that.
And I think my recommendation would be that I think that maybe you reach out as electeds to the county and county council individually, talk to them, see, let's get some information first before, go out there and beat the bushes and talk to people at the county. You can do that freely at any time. Get more information, get more feedback than what I'm just giving you before we would actually try to make a vote here. So get more information, talk with your county council and staff, and that would be a better approach to start that process.
Okay, very good. Unorthodox, but anybody want to comment on Jason's report?
Just the three pieces of information that I would want. One, I understand that DEP as a study has not been completed on it. Number two, particularly after all the flooding we had in that area, my understanding is that it would dramatically increase flooding because of the way it's built. And number three, I think that there is an economic social injustice, because if you come off that Pioneer interchange, you're heading down Pioneer towards Enterprise, that's the chronically disadvantaged area of New Smyrna Beach. And to direct beachside traffic into that area, I think, there are interesting legal perspectives on directing traffic into chronically disadvantaged areas.
Thanks for that opinion as well, and we'll be discussing it more for sure. Commissioner Martin, any more? You have a report by chance?
Only thing briefly, the hurricanes, for those who were unaffected or modestly affected, they've already moved on. But for those who are affected, who are in temporary housing, they're looking for financing for repairs, or they're selling and moving, and trust me, there's a lot in my neighborhood doing that, or trying to protect their beachfront homes, I would like to remind everybody that this is still very much a big deal. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Commissioner Perrine, you have a report.
I do. I have a couple of things I'd like to talk about. One is we had a couple of people here tonight. One spoke about the 5G tower on Riverside Drive. I appreciate staff working with them to figure out the whys of that and why it's going there. And I'm still trying to piece all that together because I was only notified about it a couple of weeks ago. But one of the things, I'm a big advocate of transparency, education, and communication. And in this note, it says that there was a comment about the property owner not being notified. Our permitting software ties the permit number to the closest applicable address. This is standard for the right-of-way permits, but it does not mean that that property owner has any affiliation with the project. I know this is difficult, but when these people hear about it, and this is upsetting. I would be upset if this tower is across the street from me, and we still don't really know how tall this tower is, whether it's going to be 10 feet or 40 feet, but I really want to put a priority on that, and that we help that street, figure this out so that that doesn't happen again. Secondly, a lot of things have come across our desk about historic district. And I live in the historic district, and my house is 1938. And I would like to see that before anything is put on this agenda, I believe Bob told us that there are 500 historic homes in this area that's in this historic district. And currently we do not have a local overlay for that. But when we start making policy changes and ordinance changes that impacts 500 people, they deserve at least a notice in mail or some writing. We did a notice 2 years ago asking if we wanted people to be on that historic register, and we did not get 2/3 of the vote. I saw that come back through our desk again, asking to reduce that to 50%, and I didn't like the way that was done, because if we didn't get it at 2/3, why would we go for 50% without the people saying? Here's the problem I have with it. A regulatory taking occurs when a government regulations limits the use of private property to such a degree that effectively deprives the property of any value. I've researched a lot about this, contacted 3 insurance companies. My insurance rates just doubled yesterday because of these hurricanes. The last thing I want to see is my insurance dropped and this happening again and going up because of certain rules that not everybody is notified. So before we do this, I appreciate these boards, but I do live in the historic district as well as 500 other people. And a lot of these people that are on these boards don't even live in this district. So really, I think we should be careful with transparency, notification, and communication before we move forward with agendas set without a lot of notice. We had 3 days to know about last night's agenda. It wasn't enough time.
Anything else on your report, ma'am? Anything more to your report? Okay, very good. Kyle, I'll give you a chance. I know you're dying to get at it, but I wanted to offer a couple things. We did have the opportunity to go to the Florida Legislative Delegation. The staff prepared, Khalid and the staff prepared a great presentation. I was able to add touches. All the mayors were invited to participate, and other organizations. We were cited in the News Journal for being direct, and I was not kind with remarks for help. Told them we're hurting and we need their money, and we asked for a lot of it. And so it got more questions than all the other speakers combined, and I think we got their attention. We went to the county council swearing in, and I would tell you it's a new climate at the county council. The newly elected councilmen are generally New Smyrna supporters, and so I think we should leverage that as best we can. Today attended the our Southeast Volusia Chamber of Commerce Planning Board retreat, and they want to be of service to New Smyrna and tying calendar events in so that there's not a disparity about how things are scheduled for city events, so that we could all look at a calendar, whether it's produced by the city or the chamber or whatever, but it would involve FABA, it would involve the Canal Street, and I think they're headed in the right direction. I attended the farmer's market on Saturday with the deputy fire chief. Plan to do that the first Saturday of every month. The participation and interest from the crowd was palatable. There's a lot of interest of not coming to this room. The intimidation for some is high, and so they prefer to just talk in the easy. I've said that I'll be there the first Saturday of every month with a different department head, but I would cede that to if any of the commissioners want to fill in a spot on any Saturday over the next 12 months. Be happy to have Commissioner X, Commissioner Y, Commissioner Zone 1, 2, 3, 4 there instead of me there every time. Don't want to add to your load something that I think and are proving out that it works really, really well. The deputy fire chief had a great time, and people came up and learned a lot of things. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'd be happy to share that opportunity.
Is there a specific issue or problem?
No
or is
problem,
it-
no issue.
Okay.
It's a speakeasy. It's a free zone. We have a tent. We have our City of New Smyrna Beach logo. We have a table, and people come up and talk about all matter of things. And some of those people you would never find in the room here. And so I encourage them to come and talk about here. And the added value is if a different department head goes every year, now you've got a fire chief, you've got a police chief, you've got the planning boss, you've got the leisure services. They can know about that. If we did it on one particular dedicated Saturday every month, so people would know in advance, we'll get Phil to advertise it. So I want to make sure that that's available to all of us. The last is the Fitness Challenge, 13th Annual Fitness Challenge opened last night with nearly 100 folks. Amy and I are going to participate in it, and the crowd was fired up. I'm sore today, and I'm planning to go back on Thursday and do the 10 weeks, being very well run by the city staff, and the coaches and the sponsors have been amazing. That concludes my report. City Manager.
Yes, sir. I have 4 items that I would like to present to the commission for discussion, and probably will come back to you if that's an interest to you. The first one is I want to suggest to start the meeting at 5:30 instead of 6:30. Trying to, because a lot of times what happens when we have a meeting like this, staff will be here from 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning until, last time we were here until 15 to 12. As you see in this agenda, I mean, this is a very light agenda, but here we are, it's almost 10 o'clock.
9:53, and I won my Coke bet.
Yep. Yes, you do. And that's some of the things I want to address here coming in. So, and then the other one is, I want to look into to see when we have a quasi on the agenda that maybe we need to have a special meeting. So Katie and I will be discussing that to see if that's legally possible and how we could do it. The third item is public participation. I know the mayor and I attended the county swearing in ceremony there, but they did the public participation prior to the swearing in, and so they used the cards in order to speak for the public participation. Port Orange, they use it. The city of Daytona, they use it. So if there's an interest, I wanted to get a card for you at the next meeting, just for you to look at. Typically what happens is people, they sign in, their name, their phone numbers, the topic they want to talk about, and it closes when the meeting starts. However, if somebody walks in that they're not aware of our procedure, the mayor would allow them if he wants to come and speak. But I think that will give us an idea about the meeting, give us an idea about some of the topics on the agenda. Do I need to pull an agenda item to make it a special discussion or not? But I think that will make it more efficient and streamline the process. The fourth item is the seating. We would like to make some changes on the seating, whether we go, zone 1, 2, 3, 4, or whether we make the vice mayor to sit on the right side of the mayor. Obviously, the vice mayor changes every year. But at the next meeting, I'll present a couple of options for you to look at. And if that's the case, the following meeting, we will make the new seating to be present here. So, any questions?
You want comments, or you want to bring it back?
Comment is fine. So this way, when we come back with you, then we'll give you some feedback.
He's going to bring it back, but if you want to
Well,
comment
it's
now.
up to you. I mean, do we
Yeah.
want to discuss it later when he brings it back? I don't want to waste time unnecessarily.
No, I mean, if you have comment or suggestion this way, when I bring it back, I'll address your issue.
Okay, the 5:30 start time has always, it's funny, I think that's come up, this is the third time in my tenure. And the interesting thing is, the reason it starts at 6:30 is to give people to be able to get home from work and get to the meetings. That was the main reason, is my understanding. 5:30 backs it up. So, for example, if we had the commission meeting start at 5:30, then we would have a problem if we wanted meetings beforehand on people who work not being able to get here. I'm a little sensitive to that situation as someone who works. I like the idea of having the possibility of a diverse commission in terms of age and work and where they're at. It's always hard for younger people to be able to run for an elected office. So I would tell you that I could get here by 5:15 at the earliest. 5:30 would be that time where I can commit to. I could get here by 5:30. But if we start wanting to have meetings before that with any kind of consistency, that could be a problem. The quasi-judicial, I have a concern creating a whole new day for a meeting. I'm open to that, but the creation of having to come for a whole nother day, a time period, I question that. I'm not a fan of moving. I think it works great. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's easy, it's simple. Vice mayor's over there 1 year, then there 1 year, then here 1 year, and then there 1 year. So I don't see a need for that. Those are my thoughts.
Any others? Any other comments? Colin, that helps you script things. There was I think the movement of the seats was for the benefit of the mayor hearing the vice mayor, who is more senior and with experience. There was a perception in the crowd that why are the old guard on the one side and the new people on the other side? And then why is it boys on one side, girls on the other? So if that was the perception, and so when I simply said it's zone 1, 2, 3, 4, it was like, oh, we never knew that.
Pure coincidence.
So it was just perception.
Yeah.
And so in doing some perception management was the idea.
Well, I think Colin may be getting little tags to say 1, 2, 3, 4, so that should take care of the whole problem.
Yeah.
I like the idea of 5:30, if we have a quasi-judicial, and 6:30 the rest of the time. Could we do that? That way we don't have to run over and make it another night.
Legal.
The problem is the legal advertisements. We won't know. I think it just has to be a single start date for everyone. Right.
Any other comments? It's helpful. Thank you very much. City Clerk, have you got a report?
No report. I included our city clerks, their 2022 analytics in the report that I provided for you.
Very good. Have that. Thank you so much. City Attorney, any more?
Just for the public, it looks like the Hill Street variance that was denied at the last meeting may be appealed. We'll know in the next week or so. Also for the commissioners who I met with one day, we got a notice that Inlet Condo, which is a case that's kind of set dormant for a couple of years, it's a declaratory judgment on whether or not short-term rentals are allowed on the north side in a big condo building. It's going to be set for trial in May. So our litigation is kind of popping right now. So that's all.
Very good. Without any further agenda items and without any other business, we are adjourned at 10 p.m. Good evening, everyone. Happy